evening, party people, and welcome back to the Bar with an X. Tonight, I have a special, very special cocktail showcase for all of y'all. Reason number one is because this is the first cocktail showcase featuring cocktails inspired by the locales of The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, specifically the locales of Hyrule itself. Tonight's cocktail recipes will include cocktails inspired by Death Mountain, Lake Hylia, Gerudo Valley, the Lost Woods, as well as a special little non-locale based drink at the very, very end. It's also special for a second reason, because it is actually the first cocktail collaboration between the Bar with an X and another bar or another set of mixologists. If you couldn't tell already, those mixologists are the folks over at the Mixology Mixshow, a duo of mixologists both in the musical sense of the word, but also in the cocktail and bartending sense of the word. Not only do they mix drinks, also sometimes inspired by video games and various other themes, but they also DJ as they put on their show, serving drinks to the guests that make their way through the Mixology Mixshow's bar, which, that's super cool. I love the, I remember when I first found them on Instagram and Twitch too, I saw mixology and at first I was like, oh, it's mixology like music. That's really clever. I wonder if they do drinks too. And the fact that they did was like, oh my God, what a perfect branding opportunity. That's so cool. So at one point in time, probably during the very beginning of the year, just as we did a little rebrand over here, the folks at the Mixology Mixshow reached out and said like, yo, we should totally do a collab thing. We love video games. You love video games. You ever play Legend of Zelda? And I was like, I've never played Ocarina of Time before. I'm gonna play Ocarina of Time. And we came up with a couple of drink recipes. I've got half of the curation this evening with original recipes from here at the Bar with an X, and the latter half of the evening as their show begins over on their Twitch page, which is on the pinned comment in the live chat, as well as on the YouTube and the Twitch side, which will be starting in about an hour from now if you want to see how they do it over on their end. It's a lot more of a in-depth musical experience from what I've experienced prior and what I've been told as well. So I look forward to be able to join y'all after the stream ends, chilling in their chat for the duration of the evening. With that being said, hello to all the early goers. I see Firewolfie out there. I can see Totally Not Gabriel Johnson, Metaton EX, and also Life in Croydon saying, Kool-Aid out of a stein? No, just water this time. I don't know how that's Legend of Zelda related, but it's gonna be awesome. I just can't wait for 9 p.m. Easter, says Totally Not Gabriel Johnson. Is it a classic martini? Asked Metaton EX. No. There's a lot more fruit juices, at least in this one over here, than the classic martini. And Firewolfie says, don't lose the Lost Woods. That'd be very bad. I will not lose the Lost Woods. Actually, that's one of the ones that I'm looking forward to try the most. So that's one of the last cocktails for this evening because it's one of the ones created by the Mixology Mixshow. It's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to going through this all with y'all. Anyways, so to get things started around here, the first recipe on our docket is for Lake Hylia. This was one of the recipes that was formed from here at the Bar with an X. We actually just got to Lake Hylia in our playthrough of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, where you try to find the Zora Sapphire, you meet Princess Gerudo, at least when you were child Link, you go inside of the fish deity Jabu Jabu. That's pretty cool and all. But how do you drink Lake Hylia? Well, I'll give you a little bit more details at the end, but if you don't know already, Lake Hylia freezes when you become an adult. And that's kind of that's one of the things that inspired this particular cocktail. So let's swap over to, let's get our ingredients out. I need, for this one, a blender. Because this is a blended cocktail. This is blended right here. If you are following along at home and you want to be able to follow along either for the VOD that exists after the fact or right here during the live stream, I have a chilled glass preparing in the fridge right now. It is a thin, circular, old-fashioned type glass that is in the freezer chilling right now, and you'll also need a blender for this. You will also need the following ingredients up at the, if you see it in the recipe card: some vodka, some Hpnotiq liqueur, some syrup, elderflower, triple sec lime juice, and everything else. And you also need some fresh limes. I see Metaton saying, are you working for episode 82 of your podcast? I actually don't have a podcast. Maybe one day, though. I'm assuming Ocarina of Time is emulated. Is it N64 or 3DS? It is the original, the N64 version. There's just something about pixelated graphics that I absolutely love. And Firewolfie went fishing, which is perfect. There is no fish in this cocktail. We did some weird stuff for Undertale, so I'm easing back on things just a little bit. So the first thing that we're going to add to our blender, if I can actually get the top off of this thing, There we go. We're gonna add a bunch of ice in this. This is a slushy cocktail. This is an alcoholic slushy. It can also be non-alcoholic. If you're curious about that, you can combine a collection of tropical fruit juices together to get a flavor that is close to this, including guava and pineapple and whatnot, but your color is going to be completely different. It's gonna be like a maybe greenish, like pinkish type thing. So I don't have that specific recipe here. But for anybody who are non-alcoholic drinkers out there, the next cocktail does have a non-alcoholic version. I took your feedback and I decided to do a little reworking because that's my commitment. I want to be able to do what the people do. And I know a ton of people don't drink alcoholic stuff, so that's what we're going with. I'm gonna grab a bunch of ice, we'll put it inside our blender, and then prepare for our liquid ingredients. Need quite a few of them here. Whoops! And if you drop any, that's fine. I don't have a specific count of exactly how much ice is in here. It really depends on how you like your drinks. In this case, I like mine with a texture, so I'm adding a bunch of ice. Okie dokie. Oops, I dropped the ice again. Well, there you go there. I see Little Saw saying, welcome in, Little Saw. Actually, Zoro's domain is frozen as an adult. Lake Hylia is rather drained halfway, but all in all, I'm excited to see what kind of drinks are coming in today. Oh, we love to do things with correction around here, Little Saw. So I appreciate for the correction. I think you're right. Lake Hylia is at the very, very bottom, and that gets half drained, but who's to say there aren't tiny pieces of ice down there? But that's a good point there. So I got myself a little mixed up, but things all right. Things all right. Let's put our liquid ingredients in our glass. We're going to need a full ounce of vodka for this. I got my Pennsylvania-made Union Forge vodka. I love this stuff. Grab ourselves a measuring majigger and measure out an ounce or about 30 milliliters of vodka. Naturally, if you're making a bunch of these, you can scale up this recipe to pretty much as your blender can hold. Mine looks like it can hold up to 1,375 milliliters. So that's pretty cool. Metaton says, blend and pour. Cameron with an X. Blend and pour. That's what you do. You blend it, and then you pour it out. Don't tell them about the harder Master Quest version of Ocarina of Time. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. I also see, what is it? A1 Hoyt. That's either A1 or Al. If you're Al, hello there, Al. If you're AI, then hello there, AI. Robots are cool. The next ingredient that we're going to add is 3/4 of an ounce of a liqueur known as Hpnotiq. Hpnotiq is another one of the cool hit blue liquors that are out there, not to be confused with blue curacao, which is a darker blue. Curacao is going to be more orange flavored. Hpnotiq, on the other hand, has a bunch of tropical flavors to it, including guava. It also says orange, passion fruit. Oh, maybe I just inserted the guava, but I like to think it's guava flavored. It's also blue, and that's exactly what we're trying to go for this time, because Lake Hylia and water is kind of blue. We're gonna add 3/4 of an ounce, or about 22 milliliters of Hpnotiq liqueur. That's where the blue's coming from. That's what the blue is. This looks fun. Zora's and Jabu Jabu. I did consider just putting straight up fish in this cocktail, but I didn't have enough time. I didn't have enough time to think about that. It could have either been Lake Hylia or the Zoro's Domain frozen over, frozen drink, or just like fish on ice. That's also a possibility too. But our Hpnotiq is in there now. What else we got? I see we're gonna need 3/4 of an ounce, or about 22 milliliters of a rich simple syrup. You can either use twice as much simple syrup if you have a 1-to-1 ratio by weight of simple syrup. I'm using a 2-to-1 ratio, which is a bit more sweeter, it's a bit more shelf stable, and it allows things to sweeten up a bit more. There's gonna be a lot of dilution from all the ice in here, especially as it comes up the temperature over time. So let's go for it. We'll need 3/4 of an ounce of rich simple syrup. About 22 milliliters. There we go. Very, very syrupy. So we'll just let that completely drain out for a hot second there. Little Sauce says, typically, I go with absolute vodka. Ice does add quite the texture, hopefully more texture than what Zora's Domain is feeling at the moment. Get it? Get it? Because I suppose that if a lack of texture, if you have a lack of water and a lack of liquid, I suppose ice is all texture. I did have my hands like fingers and knuckles deep in ice previously, and it's pretty textured if it's cubed. If it's not cubed and it's just solid, I'd probably like break my fingers, and I'm not a fan of that. Not this time, at least. I'd like to remain as able-bodied as possible for the cocktail presentation. It's a special one at the very least. Yeah, it says, I am blue, dabba-dee-dabba-dum. You are. You've shown up blue on my thing over here. Twitch chat has like colors and stuff. I don't think YouTube does that, but it's possible. I think I saw that YouTube chats when you're monetized get colors. I don't know. I'm not monetized yet on YouTube, so I don't know how the rules go. But if you can get colors eventually, that sounds exciting. In any case, let's move on. Next, I'm going to need a half an ounce or about 15 milliliters of Elderflower liqueur. You could go with something like a Saint Germain here, but I've got Saint Elder, and it works pretty well for my Elderflower experiences. Half an ounce or about 15 milliliters of Elderflower liqueur into the blender. We're not blending things just yet. It'll get great. It'll get wonderful. Life in Croydon says, what do you think Link's drink of choice is? Adult Link. I'm just gonna guess that he just drinks like milk from Lon Lon Ranch, except it's been spiked with whiskey. Maybe Link is advanced enough to do like clarified milk techniques, or maybe it's just like a Lon Lon milk punch. That sounds cool. And totally like an excellent idea for a cocktail, but you didn't hear it from me. Next, we're gonna add a half an ounce or about 15 milliliters of lime juice. We'll be using quite a bit of lime juice throughout the entirety of this stream. If you don't understand why, then you haven't gotten the joke. But I've got quite a few limes that I have de-thawed from my freezer as a means to control the amount of fruit waste and whatnot that we put into the world. So let's get a juicer. I've got this lime here. We'll see how much that we can get from this guy and then just pour it on in. There we go. I'd read the chat while I'm doing this, but I am notoriously bad at keeping my marks on, especially when I'm squeezing citrus live. All right, I'm gonna need another one of those. Yeah, that one didn't squeeze very well either. That's okay. We got plenty of them. We've got plenty. I see Willpower also popping in saying, hello there. And Firewolf is saying L YouTube, W Twitch. As in, YouTube is the L, Twitch is the win. The bot commands work over on the Twitch side, and that's the fault of the developer. Specifically me. I'm the developer. I take all blame for that. This guy's got a bit more juice in him. We'll continue with that guy next time. So I need 15 milliliters, about half an ounce of lime juice. And that's all of our liquid ingredients, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, we forgot the triple sec. Don't forget your triple sec. We're also gonna need half an ounce or about 15 milliliters of triple sec or other orange liqueur of your choice. That's what you'll need. Willpower, did I not acknowledge your presence yet? Because if I didn't, welcome in a second time. Half an ounce or about 15 milliliters of orange liqueur. Triple sec is my choice. I see Pepsi cocktail when? Pepsi cocktail, when do you want it, Firewolfie? What video game does Pepsi evoke to you? Little Sauce says, I'm gonna run and make some spaghetti. Oh, go for it. I'll be right back after supper. In the meantime, let's strap this tunic on and enter the woods of mystery. Hopefully you've come back by the time that we get to the Lost Woods cocktail, a creation by the Mixology Mixshow, which is, I've taste tested these all beforehand. They are all really, really nice. And I'm not just patting myself on the back there. These ones, I think, there was a lot of thought, a lot of love that went into all of these. I also see Metaton saying half an ounce of lime juice, indeed. MT Echo saying, aye, indeed, indeed. All right, so once you've got your liquid ingredients combined with your solid ingredients, what we're gonna do is we're gonna blend everything together. What we're gonna do after the fact is we'll take the contents of our blender, we're going to pour it into a glass that has been nicely chilled in the freezer, which is happening right now, and we're gonna add on top of it a tiny little lime medallion, which is quite honestly just the side of a lime cut. It's gonna look like a circle if you cut it right down this angle here. I'll show you how to do it when we get there, but in the meantime, I wanted to give you a heads up. So let's blend this on crush ice mode, and then try to get this to a nice even consistency. Watch your ears, everybody. Watch your ears. I'll give a note that I need a new blender. It was like the one thing that we didn't get off of our wedding registry, so this thing kind of sucks. It might take a little while. That's why we're doing this first. I see Firewolfie saying, spaghetti's my favorite food. I can't watch my ears. My peripheral vision isn't that great. Biology? Well, I know there is definitely a good couple of chunks of ice still left in here. I can see that as this thing is spinning, the blades are not necessarily spinning at the same rate, so Hamilton's gonna have to go eventually. This blender is on its way out, let me tell you. In any case, let's move on, right? Ain't no use crying over large ice cubes. If Link cried over large ice cubes, then I guess Ganondorf would still be in charge, right? Willpower says, I'm so hyped for tomorrow! That's because the Paper Mario and the 1,000-Year Door, the remake is coming out tomorrow. Willpower is actually going to do an opening stream as soon as the debut comes out. So if you're interested in that in particular, I won't be playing it just yet, but you can check out Willpower for that over on the YouTube side, but also Twitch too. I can't remember. Are you on both platforms now? I can't remember. And I see BC Awesome is popping in saying, hi, Cammy B, said by Fatty Mog. Hello, Fatty Mug. I'm Cammy B for those of you who don't know. But I'm also Cammy C and Cammy X. I'm known by so many names that I tend to get confused. So let's grab a chilled glass from the freezer, and then we're gonna make our medallion first. Actually, we'll make our medallion first. Take a lime, take a cutting board, and honestly, just kind of cut right down the side, just like this. I feel no need to get the cocktail angle for this. It feels that easy. Just kind of take a knife and slightly cut down the side. You will have a little lime piece that looks a little something like this. Just a tiny little medallion. This is going to be the island that's in the middle of Lake Hylia, because that seems appropriate. Let's grab the cocktail angle, shall we? Come over here, buddy. Over here. Up and over here. The thing in the background. I'm on both platforms, says Willpower. Firewolfie says, I found the perfect conversation starter. Are you wearing pants? According to Twitch's TOS, I can't leave up to speculation whether I'm wearing pants or not. So, yes, I am. And if you want proof, I'm not going to show you. I'm just not going to do it. Let's grab a chilled glass. This one's nice and chilly. Nice and chilly indeed. Hello there, buddy. Hello there, buddy. Let's bring you a little bit closer so we can actually see what's going on. It's so funny. The back of this glass looks like it has a chip out of it because it hasn't frosted back there because of my skin oils. Where are you, bud? There you go. Let's bring you back a little bit so that you're all in the angle for all the people. There we go. Now, let's pour in Lake Hylia. Slushy cocktail. Oh, there's a big chunk in there. We're gonna take the chunk out. I don't want those chunks. Pour it on out. It's gonna try to not get any more chunks. There we go. A nice slushy. We can grab ourselves actually.
Hello. Then you go back to it.
Whoa, that's a big kitty.
How are you? And then go back to it.
Something to kind of
quite well.
Put that down a little
Thank you
bit.
very much.
I have a small knife around here somewhere. Hey, welcome in, FT Echo. Welcome in. We're trying to flatten that down as much as we possibly can. We want a nice, flat, frozen surface as best as possible. There we go. I think that'll work. Now that we have that, let's go up a little bit, go downwards so we can actually see the medallion, the little island that's right in the center of Lake Hylia. There we go. This is Lake Hylia, a little cocktail inspired by Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. I was corrected earlier that Lake Hylia doesn't actually freeze over. That's a mistake on my part, but shit gets frozen, and I assume the ice will get there eventually. What are we going on? I see here Pokemon with an X, aka Sebastian, saying, I'm getting an ice cream stream. What are your recommendations? Dude, I love... Rocky Road is great. I also like tiramisu, if that's a flavor. Making a cocktail right now. What do you make it? Metaton, do you drink? That's awesome. I also see Life in Croydon saying, he could be wearing shorts though. Weather is getting warmer. Lemon sorbet is Disney Queen's favorite. So this is our Lake Hylia, a tropical drink, reminding us of the better times in the young timeline, and perhaps potentially the worst times in the adult timeline. Indeed. Let's see how Lake Hylia tastes. The cocktail angle away for a hot second. There we go. This is actually one that you could drink. There's a little bit of liquid around here, but you can also eat it with a spoon too. I'll go for the liquid and see what happens first. Mmm.
Hello.
Lightly fruited. Oh, Mixology Mixshow. Oh, the people in question. That's these folks, everybody. We just walked into our bar. Take a seat, Mr. and Mr. Mixology. Welcome in, y'all. We haven't yet gotten to your recipes yet. Those will be towards the end. But right now, we're showcasing some original creations from the bar with an X, including Lake Hylia. Lake Hylia has a lovely, lightly fruit-flavored template to it. I was going to say that it's very sweet. It's not very sweet. There's not a lot of sweetness in this. There's a lot of sweetness that comes from the triple sec as well as the Hpnotiq, and there was no need to add additional stuff to it. This is a nice little boozy shake that you could have. As it comes up to temperature, it will melt a little bit. There is quite a bit of liquid in there, and that's what I've been sipping on so far. But you can get a piece of it too. Actually, I'll just take it with my tongue. Oh yeah, it's nice. I'll say the liquid parts, the warmer temperature parts, taste more like tropical fruit. I'm getting notes of like orange in there. There's some pineapple. I'm getting hints of a bitterness there. That bitterness is definitely from that lime juice. It seems that is very, very prominent there. I actually kind of like that. I like my drinks with a little more bitterness to it. I wonder if you actually took a little bit of lime zest and blended it on the inside, whether that would increase those lime notes even more. Not something I thought of until very now, so I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm making the Zora's Domain, says Metaton. Oh, we'll rename this one to Zora's Domain. Well, if it's Zora's Domain, then it's just frozen, and you don't need this little, like island in the center of it. But, you know, it's all's well that ends well. And, like, I can prove that this thing is more or less, like, solid in there. They just kind of push it inside, and now it's just lost. Anyways, for the sake of cocktail presentation, I'm gonna leave that back up on top. And it's very, very pleasant. Very pleasant. Lightly fruity, just the perfect amount of sweetness. It's got enough dilution and enough chilledness to it that you can taste all those flavors very, very pleasantly. And it's very, very nice, very, very light. Let's take this guy. I'll put Lake Hylia off to the side a little bit, and I'll just give you a little extra background of exactly how the Lake Hylia cocktail came to be. It is the new format around here. We'll teach you how to make the drink, we'll give some tasting notes on it, and then we'll give a little bit of background on it, shall we? I'm gonna take my blender, Hamilton, and kill it, because it doesn't work anyways. But I'll put it on the table over here. We will not be using that anymore. No more blender. No more blender. No more blender. So, talk a little bit more about Lake Hylia. There wasn't too much that I was able to pull from this drink. I think one of the things that I struggled with the most when I was workshopping this particular cocktail was how to represent the ice part of Zora's Domain being frozen. How do you what kind of flavor do you represent from that? And also, what are the distinguishing characteristics of Lake Hylia? If you didn't know already, there's a little island in the center of Lake Hylia, and that's where this little lime medallion came from. It was inspired by a tiki drink book that I saw where they used a little orange medallion, as they call it. And I thought that would look perfect right in the middle of the slushy sort of ice. The flavors I struggled with a bit, because the only thing that I can think of when I think of Zora's Domain is fish. And I just didn't want to drink slushied fish. By that point, you might as well have just taken ice and then also have just taken the fish itself and blended it together. But I don't know if it would have been blue. I don't really know if it would have tasted good either. MT Echo TV, oh, with a subscription, thank you! All the contributions that anybody makes to this channel winds up going back into it anyways, so that allowed us to get a sous vide maker, that allowed us to get some of the ingredients that we have here, the liquors and whatnot, as well as the nice shakers and stuff. Some of these really suck, but the nice ones came from you guys, so thank you for that. I see Firewolfy saying, I just had an idea. Cocktail float, like root beer float. But instead of root beer, it's a cocktail where you take it and you almost affogato it. You put a bit of ice cream, you put your cocktail over top of it. There are drinks like that. Do I know any off the top of my head? I don't. That's a damn good idea. Willpower says, will you make cocktails for all the spiritual stones and medallions? I will not be giving any spoilers there, but I don't intend on making that many cocktails. I do have some other things that were in the pipeline, and I don't think I will have enough time to create them for all of them, but I am thinking about doing some like sage cocktails at some point. I like the idea of doing one for each of them, because for some reason the magical number is 7 around here. Cocktails can't seem to come in 7 for some reason. In any case, that's Lake Hylia. That's how you make Lake Hylia, and over time, the ice will eventually melt by no thanks to the hero of time or anything like that. Just thanks to thermodynamics, and it'll taste probably a bit more warm. This is the first slushy cocktail I made. I kind of like that. Oh, you know what? I didn't even try to eat it with a spoon. I should have got to try to eat it with a spoon. Bottoms up, Lake Hylia in my mouth. It's light. It's light. It's a lot less sweet in ice form, and it tastes like a light, bitter orange. Light bitter orange. Very light bitter orange. Very light bitter orange. I see Chris popping in. I say hello. Metaton says put a frog that can act like Jabu Jabu. I don't want frogs in here, dude. No frogs. And Jay Novice popping in saying, the bar I was talking about, Aviary, I remember. I actually Google mapped that the other day and bookmarked it. Has a drink called In the Rocks, where they put a cocktail into an ice cube, usually circular, and then you break it into a glass. You know, before our rebrand around here, we did a cocktail stream around May the 4th for Star Wars cocktails. And I tried my best to do that sphered ice cocktail trick. It didn't work out super well, but if you go to the cocktail blog, like cocktail blog archive, it's called the Super Laser Beam, and it's got a green liquid on the inside, or maybe it was a blue liquid on the inside. No, green liquid on the inside, blue liquid on the outside to represent Alderaan. I thought that was really cool. In any case, let's get on to our next recipe around here. I'm gonna use the next command before any of the mods do. Let's go for it. Kid, popping in. Look at that, with a kazoo. I actually ran out of my kazoo up here. Where are they? I got more down here. Thank you, Kid. Kid says, early bedtime tonight, but have a great show. Thank you, Kid. Nice snowmen. Very on brand for the icy cocktail, so it seems. Firewolfie says, we should do that kind of drink for the ice cave that you go into the game. Isn't that the ice temple? I'm not there yet. No spoilers. Although I do spoil these things for myself anyways. Otherwise, how would I be able to present cocktail ideas to y'all if I didn't, like, scour the wikis ahead of time? It's no lie around here. I don't go into these games blind. I've got better things to worry about. And I see Life in Cruden. Finally, I'll say before we move on to the next cocktail, we recently tried making alcohol pops, and they turn out better as an alcoholic water ice. It depends on how much alcohol you have in there. Some alcohols freeze. Some alcohols don't. It depends on what the ratio is you have in there. Back when we did the last Undertale showcase, we did a bunch of batched cocktails, and it seemed that Adios motherfucker cocktails become slushes. And it also appears that, what was it? Jungle Birds. Depending on what recipe of Jungle Bird you use, a Jungle Bird cocktail will freeze more or less solid. It gets a little squishy, but it might work as a pop for you. Perhaps. Spoiler, Snape kills Ganondorf. What are you, get out of here, kids. Go to bed, kid. All right, so the next cocktail that we got around here is a cocktail inspired by Death Mountain, the home of the Gorons. It is I don't know if it's an active volcano or a non-active volcano. I assume it's active. There is lava inside of there, and I think that's where the fire temple is too. That's what we have. I'm gonna show you how to make the Death Mountain cocktail, and then I'm gonna show you how to make the Death Mountain mocktail. There is a non-alcoholic version of this one that I will share with you guys as well. There was a lot of requests specifically for non-alcoholic versions for all of these cocktails, and I'll admit, I'm not that good at them, but I'm gonna try to at least include one in each of these showcases going forward because I hear your feedback, and the only way for us to get better as mixologists and bartenders is to start trying. So that's my commitment to the rest of y'all, and also it'll make things fun. Plus, like, more recipes equals more fun, right? Anyways, let's continue on with this one. To make Death Mountain, you'll need a couple special ingredients. One of these ingredients, which is actually one of the things that went into the most effort for this particular one, are these little jelly rocks. I'm gonna show you all these little jelly rocks, and then I'm gonna give you a quick idea of how we made them. These are tiny little rocks made of chocolate jelly. You wanna focus on that for a little bit, cocktail angle? Hello? Cocktail angle. Hey, cocktail angle. Focus. Focus on the rock. Focus on the rock. Well, the rock isn't focusing, but this is a rock. And this is a rock. Look at all these rocks. These rocks that we have. They are made from agar, some cocoa powder, some sugar that's been brought up to temperature and then allowed to cool. These rocks are gonna go into the bottom of a rocks glass where we're gonna pour the cocktail into. I'm not gonna do that just yet, but I wanted to give you a heads up that this ingredient is coming up. So now let's build the other ingredients of this. I see Softmoth saying, hello, sorry I'm late. No worries. We work across multiple time zones here, so I can't point the finger at anybody who's late and say you're late, because these videos exist ad infinitum. And I see that comment there, Life, about Navi being in the core craft. That is, that thing is terrifying. All right, let's grab ourselves a shaker. If it wants to come off of itself, it can. We're going to add ice to one side of the shaker, let it come up to temperature, while we add our liquid ingredients into the other side of the shaker. So let's do that. Let me grab some ice, put it on one side, and we'll add some liquid ingredients. And boom. Let's go for it. So first what we're gonna add is 1.5 ounces or about 44 milliliters of a dark rum. I'm using Myers in this case. It's nice, and I like it. Let's use this one. I think this will be the jigger I use this time. Let's add 1.5 ounces, about 44 milliliters of a dark rum. Yeah, that's what it's all about. I see Emmy popping in saying hello, and Jay Novice specifically saying that generally under 40% ABV freezes, but 40 to 80 does not. That's a good note there. Whoever was wondering about the popsicle stuff, that would be the thing for that. Give that a try. We'll see how that goes. Kid Sen saying hooray for mocktails. For those who don't drink, alcohol specifically, I hear you there. Now that we have our rum in our glass, we're going to add 1 ounce of a strawberry syrup. Now, you can probably source strawberry syrup, but personally, I would recommend making your own strawberry syrup because you have a bit more control over the ingredients that go inside of it, as well as the sweetness level. This is a 1-to-1 ratio strawberry syrup. It is made by combining the juice of strawberry to equal parts sugar by weight. And we're gonna add a full ounce of strawberry syrup, about 30 milliliters. There we go. It's got a beautiful, beautiful red hue to it, almost like lava. And I'll keep this to the side because we'll be coming back to that a little bit later. Metaton says, make a paper lynx shield and sword to put on your cocktail. Well, it all go all weird and stuff, and it doesn't really fit here in particular. Maybe we wait for the link cocktail if we ever actually get a link cocktail. And then Firewolfie says, Agar Agar sounds like a name of a devil fruit, not gonna lie. It kind of does, because all of them have, like, double names, right? Jabu Jabu also, like, in my mind, reminded me of Agar Agar. I was like, could I make just, like, gelatin? Could that be my reference to Jabu Jabu in Zora's Domain? I was like, no. Bad reference. Don't like that reference. So after your strawberry syrup, we're gonna add a 1/2 ounce, or about 15 milliliters of Creme de Cacao. I've got Jacquin's. I'm kind of running out of this. I need a better brand of Creme de Cacao. This one's a little... It's too, like, milk chocolatey. And when I think of chocolate, I think of, like, dark chocolate. It's like not necessarily a bad thing. That might be exactly what you're going for. But it's also kind of artificial. I don't know. Jacquin's, you're doing just fine. 1/2 ounce, or about 15 milliliters of Creme de Cacao. There's not really... I don't remember if there's a difference between dark creme de cacao and light creme de cacao. This is the only one I've ever used. I don't think there's a difference between white creme de menthe and green creme de menthe, but there may be a difference, I think, in flavor-wise between dark and light creme de cacao. Don't quote me on it, because I've never actually tried it. Next, we're going to add 1/4 ounce of lime juice. So I'm going to go back over here, get some more lime juice. I only have one jigger that actually measures out 1/4 ounce of lime juice. So I'm gonna go get that one. This is the one that we got. Can we get 1/4 ounce out of this? No, we're shy. We're just too shy. We're gonna have to get another one. Here we go. Perfection. By the way, for anybody out there who is aware of Super Juice, the Bar with an X is working on creating Super Juice. I still have yet to get my hands on the proper acids and whatnot. So eventually, we'll be trying to transition to Super Juices and stuff. So we'll see. You're gonna add 1/4 ounce, or about 7 milliliters of lime juice. If you've been catching on, everything has lime in it so far. That's the shtick. We like that. We've got our dark rum, we've got strawberry syrup, we've got creme de cacao, we've got lime juice. We're going to shake this, and then we're going to put it into a glass that has had some things muddled into it. It's gonna be fun. This is probably one of my favorite cocktails this evening. I see BC Awesome is saying, Cammy C, what the heck? Saying Fatty Mog. What the heck about what? I'm drinking. It's Wednesday. We always do this on Wednesdays. And Jay Navis says you can always make your own. Vodka, chocolate, and vanilla. That's true. That's a very solid point there. I think Kevin Kaz has a video on that. I love that guy. We're going to take any liquid that is collected in the ice side of our shaker, and we'll pour that out. I've got quite a bit in there. We're trying to use this to not over-dilute. We want to control the dilution as much as we can. Liquids into solids, and let's give this a shake. There we go. Limed, the link between drinks. You're absolutely right. You got it. You got it, Willpower. You got it. Also, right, the Ocarina of Lime. So it all makes sense there. Let me grab the cocktail angle. We're gonna prepare our glass first, and then we'll make things happen. Come over here, buddy. Get a nice view. I'm gonna turn you a little bit this way, because I want a head-on shot here if we can muster it. There we go. Trying to get a little better about this cocktail angle. Difficult to set up. How's that? Are we on the mark? We're almost on the mark. We're kind of on the mark. We're kind of on the mark. Let's put you a little farther down. There's some cool stuff happening with this one. So, now that you have your drink, you have your rocks, and you're also going to prepare ahead of time some dehydrated citrus wheels, a lime wheel, if you can get your hands on it. I've got that prepared in the back. We're going to build the drink in the following way. First, let's take a couple boulders, a couple of cocoa boulders, and we're going to muddle them at the bottom of the glass. Go in there and just crush them all up. Crush them up as much as you can. They are little pieces of jelly. Little pieces of jelly. Food fit for a Goron. Put this back over here. We will be using that again later. Now, we'll take some cubed ice, and we'll try to put it over top of it. I do not have a good apparatus for putting in cubed ice, so I'm just gonna kind of use my hands, because that's what I have access to. Fill it up with cubed ice, all the way to the top, as much as you can. Oh, that's big cubed ice. There we go. That's fine, probably. And now, let's strain over top, shall we? There we go. There we go. Death Mountain. There we go. And pop a wheel on there. Pop a wheel on there. There we go. Take some of these ice things off. All right. Death Mountain. A drink boiling with red heat. And with some snacks at the bottom, fit for a Goron, if I do say so myself. I see Life in Croydon saying, has anyone made an alcoholic ice cream? I think there are companies that do that. I haven't personally made it, not yet. Little Saw says, he are here. If I haven't missed it, how was the Lost Codes cocktail? Oh, we're only on cocktail number 2. We're not there yet. Welcome back, Little Saw. Ocarina of Lime. I love the pun. It's such a good pun. Such a good pun. Looks amazing, said Mixology Mixshow. Just wait till we get to your drinks. I'm happy to be showcasing them here tonight. We have one more of this, and then we'll be making our way to the Mixology Mixshow's cocktails that they've prepared for this evening. Including the Gerudo Valley Margarita, the Lost Woods, as well as a special shooter at the very, very end. A shot that we can take to end this whole night out. Anyways, this is Death Mountain. So good. So good. It's got a beautiful gradient to it. It's got a nice smell of it. It smells so prominently of that citrus wheel. Those things, I'll admit, my experiment has been how long can I keep those dehydrated citrus wheels? And after a few weeks or so, they get a little bit bendy again, but just stick them back in the dehydrator and they work so well. It smells so good. Let's go for it. Oh my God. Oh, it's great. Oh yes. That's great. It's like an eruption of flavor in my mouth. It is so prominently of those dark rum flavors of molasses with that slight bitterness from the lime, which reminds me of actual molasses. There is the tartness of strawberry that is just it melds so well. It's almost, the fruitiness is almost indistinguishable from the fruity flavors of the lime citrus in there, but it is undeniably strawberry. This isn't fake strawberry flavor at all. This was real strawberries that went into this syrup here, and it is unlike anything that you could get out of the store in terms of that tart strawberry flavor that is just undeniably there. And plus, to bring it all together, my mouth just tastes like chocolate now. It tastes like chocolate. I love it so much. It's just a powerful set of flavors. It is a bit on the sweeter end. There is not as much booze in here as some of the cocktails that I usually enjoy on some of the more quieter nights, but this is great. This is great for a night out. If video game bars were a thing in my area, this would be on my menu. It most certainly would. It was great. Oh my gosh. Looks great, says J Novice. I love how the bottom of the drink is red, like the core of the volcano. Lil Abe says that the idea is it's chocolate strawberry. Also, hi, hello there, Lil Abe. I'll get into how this cocktail came to be in a little bit. First, let's read some chat messages and continue to just revel in the taste of this particular drink here. I have an ego, so I'll pat myself on the back for this one. Little Saw says, nothing better than a glass of Dodongo fire. And J Novice saying, have you seen the bar, Death and Company? Oh, J Novice. Oh, J Novice. Oh, J Novice, you ask the perfect questions, my guy. You ask the perfect questions. Have I ever heard of Death and Co? Like the cocktail bar? Yeah, I have. And I'm going through every single one of their books. If you're a cocktail freak like I am, you need all three of these books. Death and Co, Welcome Home, and the Cocktail Codex. Buy them. Buy them, they're so freaking good. Buy them, they're so freaking good. I've never actually been to a Death & Co. I want to go someday. I'm saving it for a special occasion. Softmouth says, opening a video game bar and grill sounds fun. If only, my dude. I want that Death Mountain in my mouth right now. Well, if you prepared properly, you will be able to mix these. Let's see. There's a lot of ice in this. So over time, this is going to actually dilute. The ice is going to melt. And at the very bottom of the glass, if you caught on, there are these little jellies. It's a special candy. It is a specific candy called Kohakuto, and that is Japanese. That roughly translates to amber candy. It uses agar-agar, an algae type substance, a gelatin vegan substitute, to create something that is jello-like when it first comes out, and then as it's exposed to air, kind of hardens up a little bit. With enough time, these little boulders that you see here are going to completely harden on the outside, and on the inside, it's going to remain this wonderful little like jelly substance type thing. It's very tasty, and it tastes like chocolate. I have a little bit extra over here to give you guys an idea of what it is going to taste like if you don't use it in your cocktail. And as this comes to temperature, gets more liquid, that kohakuto, that candy, that jelly at the bottom, is going to rehydrate and be nice and like delicious at the bottom. This Kohakuto actually is a chocolate-based one. I don't know if you can hear me crunching there, but it's had a chance to kind of solidify over time. This stuff is really, really good. It's great. You could put it on top of a drink. You could probably rim it around a drink, or you can put it at the bottom of the drink to introduce like a cool little gradient like this. It was awesome. It's very, very tasty. That was the thing that took up the most time about this. Kohaku means amber, and so Kohakuto, which is, my note says, Kohakutou, Kohakuto. Amber candy, sorry. Jay Donna says you should go. It's a good experience. New York at the very least. New York is the closest location. We have some friends that live in Chicago, so we're probably gonna go over there. So I'll give you guys just a quick explanation of how the Death Mountain cocktail came to be, where the inspiration kind of came from. And then for those of you who don't drink alcohol, I hear your feedback. So I created a non-alcoholic recipe that you can take with you, and it takes a little bit of effort, what with the candy and the syrup and whatnot, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. So Death Mountain in The Legend of Zelda, in general, in the land of Hyrule, is, I think, either an active volcano or a non-active volcano, depending on what timeline you're in, depending on what game that you're in. But the idea of a volcano was something that I really wanted to capture in a drink. When I think of hot stuff, my head tends to go to things like peppers, capsaicin, things that leave like a spicy flavor on your tongue, or things that leave your mouth like, incredible. But I really didn't want to go that direction with this, because I feel like it felt almost too easy to just add spicy stuff to it for a volcano. So instead I took a little bit of a different direction. Death Mountain has death in it. That word in particular could evoke feelings of cocktail adventures, like at Death and Company, or it might allude to something a little more decadent, like Death by Chocolate. I was sitting in my chair right over there and downstairs and outside in the beautiful areas of Philadelphia, and I thought, could we do chocolate? Like, what about Death by Chocolate? Maybe this is a chocolate cocktail. And I was like, well, it's gotta be red. How do you make the red of Death Mountain, the red of the Fire Temple, the red of the rocks that the Dodongos eat? How do you make that chocolatey? One of my favorite one of my favorite combinations is chocolate and strawberries. Going way, way back to when I was a toddler, the first case of me shitting my pants as a human being was because I went to my grandfather's house and ate so many chocolate-covered strawberries that my little, like, 2-year-old me just completely soiled the back seat on the way home. Incredibly embarrassing, incredibly traumatic, but you could say that shitting myself at the age of 2 or 3 inspired this cocktail. But let's take that out of our heads for a second and think about the other things, right? So chocolate and also strawberry. This is more or less a strawberry and chocolate type experience cocktail with something special at the bottom, the chocolate part. The top of this drink is very prominently strawberry. It's got little notes of chocolate from the Creme de Cacao, but what's the reward, right? If you're in Death Mountain and there's some great treasure that lies at the core of the mountain, whether that be like the fire sage or some chests or whatever, or freaking Majora's Mask, what would you find at the bottom of your adventure? And the thought occurred to me, Gorons eat rocks, dude. They eat decadent rocks. So I thought, what about rock candy? Could you put that in a cocktail? Of course you can, right? You can crush up rock candy. It's basically just sugar, and you can rim the glass with it. But that didn't, I don't know, something about that didn't seem very good, because like that is sometimes an embellishment, sometimes a change to the cocktail. It doesn't really like reward you. You could like eat the cherry at the bottom of your glass. You could lick off all the salt on your rim as you're drinking your margarita, for example. That didn't really feel like a really great reward. And I thought, what if you could put something at the bottom of the glass? And the Bar with an X recently came into possession of a bag of agar agar. If you guys joined us last Wednesday, I believe, we used a bit of that to create little tonic caviar balls, which didn't work super duper well looking back on it, but it was our first experience. You can take that and turn them into little kind of edible rock candies. If you're on the YouTube side of things, the link to the video that taught me how to do that is down in the description. If you're on the Twitch side, I don't have a specific link for that. I apologize for that. Eventually things will go up on the cocktail blog. I'm incredibly behind on that. And I don't remember if I linked into the Discord or not, but if I haven't, I'm gonna try my best to remember to do that. So I apologize for that. But then everybody can enjoy those little Kahakatos. And only because I don't want to make you guys wait until the very, very end to figure out what this stuff tastes like, I'm gonna fish to the bottom. I'm gonna get some of these things, because they should be at least a little rehydrated by this point. Did I miss any sort of messages and stuff? It's great. Softmalt says Kohaka means amber. Death by chocolate sounds familiar, right? And then Firewolfie says red velvet could have also worked here, right? It could have. Absolutely. Red velvet would have been nice. But like, red velvet's just like base chocolate, I think. It's like dyed cake. It's dyed cake. So let me go down and grab some of those rocks. Those sweet, sweet Goron rocks. Almost got it. I'm gonna make a little mess here. There we go. There we go. This is what's left of one of those rocks. Oh, what a texture. What a texture. Now, instead of the strawberry being forefront with like subtle notes of chocolate, it's chocolate with subtle notes of strawberry. The Kohakato candy has absorbed some of the cocktail around it. So you get a little bit of that tartness, a little bit of that strawberry fruitiness, just a little bit. It's so tasty. It doesn't melt in your mouth or anything like that, but it's very, very easy to eat because it's super duper soft. Now that it's kind of had its chance to expose itself to liquid, that is. So anyways, that is Death Mountain #1. This is the alcoholic version of that. All of the same inspirations that I just shared with you now apply to the non-alcoholic versions, but we took out the aspects there. Oh, and you know what I forgot? You know, I just realized. I forgot to add the chocolate bitters. So, let's take some chocolate bitters and put that over top, because I completely forgot to do that. I was going to say, there was something slightly off about that chocolate flavor. There we go. Let me give that a quick mix again. I forgot that. Oh, so good. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. There we go. Chocolate notes are a little more pronounced now. The Creme de Cacao is just a bit too sweet, a bit too milk chocolatey. Those chocolate bitters by Woodford Reserve just add a bit more bitterness to it and brings that chocolate characteristic a bit more from the back of the palate to the front of the palate, but like mid-front, so to speak. I apologize, I completely forgot to do that. It's such in small text, it's kind of hard to read. The bitters are essential. It's essential to cocktails like this. Life in Croydon says, that red dye tastes great though. Red 40 has an excellent flavor to it, my guy. Let's take Death Mountain, put it behind Lake Hylia, Lake Hylia is looking kind of blue now. A nice bluish color. I think the lighting in here is a bit warm, so I don't know if that gets very well captured on camera. Then we can go to the next version of this cocktail, the non-alcoholic version, for all the folks who don't drink with alcohol out there. And that's great. Jay Nava says, what is your favorite classic cocktail? Mine is a penicillin. My favorite classic cocktail, if a Negroni is considered a classic cocktail, because I don't remember a lot of the cocktail history. I'm not a cocktail historian, but I love a Negroni. That was the thing that like turned me on to craft cocktails like from the very, very beginning. I love me a Negroni. It allowed me, I've always been a fan of bitter flavors, and so Campari sits perfectly in that particular like realm of flavors in my mind. Anyways, this is great. So, the next cocktail I'll show you guys how to make is, again, Death Mountain, but instead, here's a mocktail version of it. A non-alcoholic version of it that is a bit more heavy on those flavors of strawberry, and it attempts to compensate for that cocoa flavor by adding a little bit of cocoa powder into it to bring things all together. Honestly, I didn't fully test this one before stream happened, so this is a little bit of a... quasi-improvised cocktail in the spirit of trying to put something together that is doing a little bit of mixology together. So let's give that a try, right? I've got another glass for myself that is prepared. I've got the same rocks that I had from previously. I've also got more cubed ice in the freezer over here. Let's grab another shaker and we'll try this again, but this time with non-alcoholic ingredients. Let me grab some ice from the freezer, put it into the tall end. A little bit in there. There we go. There we go. Whoops. Whoops. It's really sugary chocolate. I missed that message from Firewolfie earlier. Very good stuff. Now, let's take the following ingredients. We have our 2 ounces of strawberry syrup, as opposed to, I believe it was 1 ounce in the other recipe. Let's grab that, flip you around. 2 ounces, or about 59 milliliters of strawberry syrup. It looks like I've almost used the rest of this. I like being able to use all the syrups that I have so that nothing goes bad. It's great. Vorian! Welcome in, Vorian! If you came for a drink, you came to the right place. If you came for a game, we'll see you on Monday for that. We'll see you on Monday. Next, we're going to add a, what is that, a quarter of an ounce? Yeah, a quarter of an ounce, or about 7 milliliters of lime juice. I've got to go back to the limes again, because evidently, that's just the kind of thing that we're looking for. And the one, gosh. I have 1 jigger that properly measures out a quarter of an ounce. I need to get more of them. Ugh. More limes. There's a bunch of limes in these cocktails tonight. If I didn't make that perfectly obvious already. Oh, do I need another one? Oh, dude. Oh, dude. This is why I want to make super juice. That's why I want the super juice. Little Sauce says, when we tried the Death Mountain cocktail, the name reminded me of the Death in the Afternoon cocktail, which is milky, like Lon Lon. That particular effect is, I believe, called lushing, and it happens when spirits that are distilled with things like anise come into contact with water. The Death in the Afternoon cocktail was actually something that we did cover when we were playing Undertale a little bit. Both the classic, the absolute classic Ernest Hemingway version, as well as the improved Anders Ericsson version. If you want to check that out, I think I have those on the YouTube channel as shorts, too. We try to summarize things around here because I know I don't have a lot of time, I know you don't have a lot of time, and we respect that about each other. Let's add a quarter of an ounce, or about 7 milliliters of lime juice. There we go. And then we also need a quarter of an ounce, or 7 milliliters of sorghum syrup. There was, from the dark rum, a flavor of molasses that, for me, was undeniable in specifically this Myers dark rum. So I'm attempting to capture that molasses flavor by using sorghum syrup, which is molasses-like, but a bit less bitter and not as powerful on those flavors, at least in my opinion. So we're gonna add, as best as I can, a quarter of an ounce of sorghum. It is viscous, less molasses, so I'm probably not gonna get all of it out there. Quarter of an ounce, or 7 milliliters of sorghum molasses, sorghum syrup. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Wow. Wowza, wowza, wowza. All right, let's put that away. Ooh, what a flavor. Ooh, would not recommend eating that on its own, unless you need to clean your fingers. Unless you need to clean your fingers. Then we'll add a half a tablespoon of cocoa powder. I've got cocoa powder straight from Guatemala. I need what is that? I need half a tablespoon. That's what I need. Half a tablespoon of cocoa powder. This is from Guatemala, my dearest. Anna with an X, the doctor in the family, picked this up when she was doing a trip. Half a tablespoon, or about, in this case, 3.2 grams of cocoa powder. It's gonna get stuck with everything. Exactly how it do. Little Saw says, when I make pancakes tomorrow morning, I'll definitely add a pinch of molasses with the syrup. Let me know how that goes for you, Little Saw. We won't be back on until Monday, but if you feel like sharing, by all means, feel free to do so. I know you just popped into the Discord the other day, so let us know how that is in the food channel. Unless you're drinking it. You can drink pancakes too if you're just drinking the batter. Feel free to put it there too. I'd be very, very intrigued of that. So we have all of our ingredients, except for seltzer, except for seltzer water. We're not putting seltzer water inside of our shaker. There's a whole pressure thing going on here, and I don't feel like screwing with science. Let's take all our water, pop it out there, combine our liquids into solids, and give this a shake. I need this a particular direction. This shaker's a really good shaker. Wanted to make sure this one got extra shaking because there is a very thick molasses type syrup in there, and I don't want to ruin that. So, now that we've got that all shaken up, let's prepare our glass with our Goron Boodle Jelly Boulder Rocks, as well as some cubed ice, and grab, I'm going to take a dehydrated blood orange wedge, because I found a blood orange inside of the freezer with an X. So that means we can just use that one instead, because I thought that was pretty cool. I'm over here, cocktail angle. Bring it on, dude. Bring it on. Bring it on. Doesn't seem like the cocktail angle is focusing correctly today. That's very interesting. I apologize for that, y'all. Okie dokie. Let's grab a rock. Let's grab another rock. Let's muddle our jelly rocks at the bottom of our glass. Make that a nice snack for later. When we get to the bottom. A nice layer of bedrock, so to speak. Get out of there. If you're a bartender at an actual bar, don't put your fingers on it. If you're a bartender at your home bar, do whatever you want to. Nobody's watching. Then, we'll fill up the container with cubed ice. Again, hand-flavored, because that's what I have access to. There we go. Let's pour over top and garnish it, shall we? There we go. Cool. There we go. Death Mountain without alcohol. Looking kind of like tomato juice, not gonna lie. Kind of like tomato juice. So much ice on there. I'm gonna take one of those ice pieces out. That's just not doing it for me. There we go. Here's Death Mountain without the thing. Let me pop over the cocktail angle real quick. I don't know why that's not focusing. I think I can fix that real quick. Let me see. It might be a settings thing. One second. AF autofocus lock is on. That's not normal. Don't do that. Whoops. Let me take a check at this real quick. Whoops, sorry y'all. Let's do auto. Auto is on. Here we go. Oh, no. This is the focus. Focus. Auto. There we go. I think that might have worked. If it didn't, then we'll try again later, shall we? There we go. Let's try it again. I think that made it look a little bit differently, too. We're still in the early stages of our bar development, so in case things have a couple of technical difficulties, it's a good thing we've got an engineer behind the bar, too. There we go. This is Death Mountain without all the unnecessary necessities of alcohol. Let's see how this tastes. That is much more heavy on the strawberry syrup, like significantly more heavy. Much more heavy on that strawberry syrup. I would even say it's a little, so this is the first attempt at a mocktail. There are different rules that you play when you don't have alcohol sort of, for lack of a better term, diluting other flavors, if that even makes sense. So it's a little bit difficult to play around with the sugar quantities, the other, oh, you know what I forgot? You know what I forgot? I remember what I forgot. I forgot the soda water on top. Hold up a second. Hold up a second. Let's add some soda water. That might be the thing. That might be the key. That might be the key. Seltzer water. There we go. Let's put some on top and then give this a mix before adding our garnishment. Whoa, look at you. Whoa, look at you. Maybe don't put it in such a small container, Cameron. Yeah, great idea. Ooh. You're bubbly, dude. You are bubbly, dude. It seems that Death Mountain is erupting. Yeah. That's on point. Do you like riding a bike? Asks Firewolfie. I do. I ride my bike to work sometimes. Death Mountain, non-alcoholic, erupted. That's better now. That's better now. It's very prominently strawberry. It is very forward on those strawberry notes with the hint of the molasses bitterness from that sorghum. At first, it was way, way too forward on the sweetness. Those notes of molasses from the sorghum were just too powerful and awfully off-putting too. But with the seltzer water on top, it kind of dispersed a bunch of the cocoa powder. It didn't exactly combine well with everything else. I think if I were to do this better another time, I'd make my own chocolate syrup instead of using the cocoa powder, probably using molasses as a base. Or I might have done like a chocolate infusion or a chocolate washed syrup to see where things go. The thought occurred to me that we could use like Hershey's syrup, but I tried that a little bit earlier this week and it's just not the flavor profile that I'm going to, and I really, really didn't want to, so let's try with that. Here we go. So this is Death Mountain, the non-alcoholic version. It is officially the first non-alcoholic drink that has made its way out of the bar with an X by my hands. So just like a lot of first attempts, it's not necessarily perfect. But if you like it, feel free to let me know. I'm curious to see how other people think of these things. You might want to take without the cocoa powder though, but I'm gonna leave it how it is. But you know what? Maybe that just kind of works. It wouldn't have erupted without the cocoa powder because of the very, very small surface area on the pieces of powder inside of the cocoa powder. That's kind of how that works. Little nucleation sites to allow the bubbles to really pop up. It's very frothy, but I think that's kind of the point in this case. So I'm just going to leave it as, it looks weird because it's supposed to look weird, and then pop it on a coaster and we'll move on with things. Not before I take a piece of Goron rock candy and pop it in my mouth. So we can continue on happily. Very, very happy indeed. Alrighty then. Let's proceed to the next recipe. Let's put the strawberry syrup away. I'll put this Death Mountain right next to the other Death Mountain. Now I got two Death Mountains. Put this syrup back in the fridge. And we'll proceed. We will proceed. Firewolfie says, if you got 1 million subscribers right now, would you quit your job? Yes. Let's move on to the next cocktail. This cocktail and all the cocktails going forward are not cocktails created by these hands. They were not formulated by this mind here. Instead, these cocktails all were created as a collaborative effort between the Bar with an X and the Mixology Mixshow to bring to y'all some cocktails inspired by the locations and locales of Hyrule and references to the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. The minds of the Mixology Mixshow have brought to us the Gerudo Valley Margarita, which we'll be making right up next, as well as a cocktail called the Lost Woods, and one more special shooter drink at the very, very end, which it's not, I don't know if it's, well, I would say that it is themed to a location in Hyrule because you need to go to a specific location in order to get the item that the shooter is in reference to, but I'm not going to spoil any details. Instead, I'll acknowledge the Mixology Mixshow popping back in a chat over here saying, whoa! Dude, I'm so looking forward to these. I will spoil the fact that I tasted these. Not the shooter. Didn't try the shooter. That was a surprise one from this morning because we were also excited to bring this to y'all. I tried the Gerudo Margarita as well as the Lost Woods the other night when we were doing a photo shoot. I'm finally ahead on that. Y'all, this is good. This is awesome. Y'all are in for a treat. I'm in for a treat too because I'm the one actually that's gonna be able to drink these ones. So let's get things going over here. And I'll also acknowledge too, Mixology Mixshow. Are you guys live right now? Have y'all started your side of the show? Because if that is the case, then y'all can also check out their side of the show, also serving these cocktails and more, and also mixing up some really awesome beats. They were sharing with me some tunes from their Legend of Zelda inspired playlist that they've got. The beats were awesome. I'm not using them this time because I worry about getting copyright strike. And plus, like, what beats original music from the game, right? It says we're live. So if anybody is over here on the Twitch side of things, please feel free to drop our pals at the Mixology Mixshow a follow. Feel free to check them out as well. If you're on the YouTube side as well, I've linked their applicable socials in the description down below. And I'm going to probably put out a pinned comment with all these details too because it just makes sense to do so. They're mixing up a really, really awesome set of beats over there, as well as drinks and inspired cocktails, just like you may be used to already here. In any case, without further ado, let's start with the Gerudo Valley Margarita, which is from the Mixology, the beautiful minds over at the Mixology Mixshow. Excuse me, whoa. Little Saw says, definitely nothing wrong with original themes. Without them, we wouldn't be here, right? Right? Nobody would be here. If Link didn't win, I guess we wouldn't be here, right? Is that how the timelines work? In any case, what we're gonna need for this one is we're going to need a glass that has been rimmed with tahini, kind of like some other margaritas that you might already be used to. I've got a glass over here. The first thing I'm gonna do is prepare my glass, then we'll mix the drink, pour it over top. We're actually gonna need a couple things for this. We need a rimmed glass, we need crushed ice, and then we're gonna combine that with the liquid ingredients for the whole entire experience. And that's how we'll do things around here. So first, let me grab some tahini, which I've got over here on the side. Then we're gonna rim this with some of that tahini. There are a couple different ways that you can rim glasses. The way that I am most used to is quite simply putting the lime at the depth that you want your rim adhering substance to get to, and then just kind of slowly rotate the glass beneath. I kind of go back and forth a little bit to make sure there's enough juice on there, and I will only rim half a glass because some people don't want to put in their mouth exactly what you put onto the rim of the glass. I wouldn't take it personally. Some people just don't want a ton of salt in their mouth. Some people have enough salt in their lives. So who are we to enforce salty tongues upon the patrons of our bar? I also don't really want that lime juice to drip down the side. So instead, I'm gonna hold it upside down to let any of the excess drip out. And I'll just kind of very, very generously shake stuff over top of it until I have the rim that I'm looking for. I keep a bar mat at the bar for this exact reason. I used to try to be clean about this, but then I did the hokey pokey and I turned myself around. Jokes or something. Jokes or something. All right, give it a little shake. You can even give it a little tap. Get all the excess off of there. And just like that, we have a glass rimmed on one side and glass not rimmed on the other side. That's the idea. Also, my bar mat is a total mess now, and I only have the Mixology Mixshow to blame for that. So let's take this, pop it down, grab another one, because we'd like to keep our bar tops nice and clean around here if we can. Thank you all for making me do this. It's your fault that I had to do this, and I'm so thankful for it. Anyways, our glass is prepared. Now we need to provide some crushed ice for the experience. Personally, my favorite way of crushing ice is to use a canvas bag like this. You can fill it up with a variety of different pieces of ice. I don't exactly know how much ice I will need. I'm just gonna grab a full thing of ice. I'm just gonna crack it on the inside and flip it around to try to get as much ice in there as possible. There we go. I got all of it. Cool. Don't need that anymore. Pop that in the bag. And then we're gonna put our glass a comfortable distance away protect the microphone, putting it a comfortable distance away. Make sure that this bag is more or less tied shut and whatnot. And then, of course, when you're doing any sort of manual labor like this, make sure that you stretch a little bit before then. Do your calisthenics. Make sure to wear protection. In my case, I use eyeglasses, safety glasses, and grab the nearest blunt object to crush your ice with. In this case, it's a wrench that I found on the side of the road. Everybody, loud sound warning. I'm about to take my anger out in some ice, as I normally do. So. Cut it out. Ooh. Getting caught on there all of a sudden. I'm trying to make these pieces as small as possible to make sure I have absolutely no regrets after this is done. When you're done having your moment, you can put your wrench away, put your safety glasses away, blow off the remaining pieces of garnish that have collected on your bar since then, bring your ice glass back, and then keep that off to the side while we combine our liquid ingredients together in yet another shaker, which I caught conveniently in the air and didn't hurt myself this time, which I find wonderful. Ice one side of your shaker. That's how we do it. Oh, there we go. Little Saw says, nothing more satisfying than watching ice get absolutely owned. I'm glad that you find this satisfying. I mean, I would argue that there are things more satisfying in it, like, for example, being the one actually crushing the ice, but hey, you know what? I respect your opinion, and who am I to tell you that you're wrong? I can disagree with you. Collecting some more ice. We'll be needing that more later. Come on, dude. There we go. Doing a little bit of prep work. There we go. Don't need that anymore. Nice. Put that back inside. Might actually need more stuff. Oh, look at this! It's biddies from An Artsy Human Being. I hope you enjoyed your ice-based catharsis. I enjoyed catching this much of a stream. Finally. Finally! Welcome in, An Artsy Human! I would consider all of us to be artsy humans around here. Do you do the arts? If you do the arts, please share your arts with us, unless it's pornographic or not safe for work or something that children should never lay their eyes on, in which case, respectfully, for your eyes only. They say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and I don't really feel like beholding somebody's junk unless I asked for it first. In any case, let's move on, right? We've got a drink to make here. We have, in this container, will be some mezcal, watermelon juice, orange liqueur, lime juice, and some simple syrup. So we'll start off with a little bit of mezcal. I have only one bottle of mezcal that I am easily able to... Actually, that's a lie. That's a lie now. Astrea66 has walked into the bar. Astra, welcome in, and all 66 of you too. It's a beautiful number. The mezcal selections here around the bar with an X has actually increased in recent years, so I'm happy to say that this is not the only bottle of mezcal that I can get my hands on. It is just a bottle that I would recommend, and multiple other mixologists would also recommend. So what we're gonna do is take 1.5 ounces of Del Maguey Vida mezcal. 1.5 ounces, or about 44 milliliters of mezcal. You could put that into the icy end of your shaker. I'm not gonna blame you if you do, but the dilution might start a little too early for what you're trying to mix, so just watch out about that. That's my little tip there. And Artsy Human says, nah, my art's just gay or fibrous. Sometimes both. Hey, you know what? Sometimes my art's a little queer too. They did a whole stream on that one time. I remember wearing the pansexual flag as a cape. I freaking loved that. That was so freaking awesome. I remember those days. What else do we need? We need 1 ounce of watermelon juice. Exactly, just like I was telling you with the strawberry juice, exactly what I was telling you with some other things, something about the flavor of watermelon, the flavor of strawberry, tastes different when it's in a candied form. I just went to the store, I grabbed some watermelon, and I just crushed it, and I put the juice inside of here, and some of the particulates are at the bottom. I would recommend using fresh watermelon juice if you can get your hands on it. 1 ounce, or about 30 milliliters of watermelon juice. I'll pop that back on here. I'm gonna add some salt to this and probably make myself like a sort of watermelon-y salty dog drink, because watermelon and salt go so well together. I found that out actually after playing Undertale. Little Saw says, before playing the game, wouldn't you say we're breaking the ice? You could say that. And in classic socially awkward fashion, as I often do, I'm breaking the ice 4 streams into the playthrough. Awkward. Once you've added your watermelon juice, we're going to add a full ounce of any orange liqueur that you want to. Margaritas tend to have as their base ingredient some agave-based spirit. Mezcal, check. Some orange-type liqueur. I'm going to use Cointreau in this case, check. Usually some sort of citrus, we've got lime in this case, and some sort of sweetener, and you can do up the rim however you want to. You can do some crazy, crazy things with margaritas, while also continuing to refer to it as a margarita instead of breaching other cocktail territory. But hey, if you like what's in your glass, who am I to judge you whether it's a margarita or something else completely? We're going to add a full ounce or 30 milliliters of an orange liqueur. I'm using Cointreau, which I believe is cognac-based. Trying to make sure that I know what I'm talking about. Are you cognac-based? You're made in France, so I'm just going to assume I'm correct on that until somebody pops in and tells me I'm wrong with cited sources properly. Next, we're going to add a half an ounce of lime juice. Everything here contains lime, my guys. Everything contains lime. I have to cut this line, not with the stupid knife. Let's do the big freaking knife. Cut your lime for the juice. This one's very, very juicy. That's exactly, I'd say that's exactly the way that I like it, but no. I have to have that boundaries conversation with my wife first before I say that openly on the internet. Let's take, hopefully, a half an ounce of lime juice. Let's see if we can actually get that. From a singular lime. Ooh, that's a juicy lime, all right. Wow, it's a very juicy lime. Holy crap. That's like a bit over 1/4 of an ounce. That's beautiful. So far from just a half? Oh, yeah. Ooh, there we go. There we go. Half an ounce. 15 milliliters of lime juice. Check that out. That's beautiful. I'm gonna keep that. You're a juicy one. I'm gonna keep you for later. I'm gonna do very appropriate things. I see Little Saw saying Gordon Ramsay is gonna enter the chat and say like, let the knife do the work. I really should. So actually, when Disney Queen and I got married earlier this year, we got a beautiful set of knives for the kitchen. And I was like, can I have that for my bar? She's like, nope, it stays in the kitchen. So all the really good knives, the ones who do the work with less effort, are downstairs. I'm not allowed to touch those up here unless I ask nicely first and promise to put them back afterwards. Next, we're gonna add some simple syrup. I've got a nice rich simple syrup here that's 2 parts sugar to 1 part water by weight. So I'm gonna add 1/4 of an ounce here. Your mileage is going to vary depending on your syrup. 1/4 of an ounce or about 1/4 of an ounce or about 7 milliliters of simple syrup. That's thick, yo. That's a thick syrup. Excuse you, bucket. And Artsy Human says, no, but she's so valid. Nice knives are nice. Yeah, dude. I didn't know what a knife was. I didn't know. I did not exactly know what a nice knife was until I was able to use one for the first time at my friend's place, who is a culinary, like, honestly, he's not a cook or anything. He's just really freaking good at cooking. And I was like, man, your knife cuts so good. And he's like, you want to try a better one? And I was like, oh, it's like butter. I was cutting like peppers, I think. Oh, it was so wonderful. That is all of our liquid ingredients. We have our mezcal, we've got watermelon juice, orange liqueur, lime juice, as well as whatever sweetener you want to use. In this case, we're using a plain simple syrup. We're going to take the water that's collected in our icy side out of this side of the shaker. There we go. I stick my hand in it because I'm disgusting. We're going to combine liquids into solids. We're going to add the crushed ice to our glass. We've already rimmed it. And I'm going to try the Gerudo Valley Margarita. Oops. I spilled it a little bit there, damn it. I lost my rhythm on that. There we go, that's better. Little Saw says nothing more dangerous than working in the kitchen with a blunt knife. It's true. I had an art teacher that cut off a piece of her finger, not with a knife or anything. It was just one of those like really large paper slicing things, and it freaking terrified me as a child. I'm not afraid of sharp objects or anything. I just I want better ones, you know? Let's bring the cocktail angle over here so we can see exactly what we're getting ourselves into. It looks like it's gonna properly focus now, but I could be wrong about that still. Here, buddy. Oh, I see you. I see you. Notice the half-rimmed glass. It gives our watchers some optionality. Here you go. Move you to the side. Just a little bit. There we go. All right. Let's take some crushed ice. We're gonna fill our glass with it. It's hand crushed, so it's not gonna be super homogeneous. Fill with crushed ice. Now, let's strain our margarita over top. There we go. Grab a strainer and do the pour. Do the pour. The Gerudo Valley Margarita. Margarita. Rousey has popped in to say, hello there. Well, hello there, Rousey. Would you like a drink? We've got drinks for you. Alrighty. This is the Gerudo Valley Margarita with some tahini on the rim, some crushed ice, specifically with that watermelon juice. It's a margarita. For the folks who are, I think, in 99.999% of scenarios, female, except for that doofus Ganondorf, who for some reason is just evil or something. I love how in Ocarina of Time, this is my first time playing the Ocarina of Time, I love how they're like, that man's evil, the man in the dark cloak and the dark cloaked desert man. I was like, I don't like the way that you just articulated about how Ganondorf is the bad guy, but he is the bad guy, so I'm gonna just take it like that. So, let's go ahead and give our very, very full, often, anytime I see a margarita at like a dive bar or anything like that, it's filled to the brim, usually with not enough alcohol, but that's totally fine. Let's take a smell. Oh, it's so smoky. This is a mezcal-based margarita, so it's not gonna have those familiar, it's gonna have some of those, it's gonna have some of those familiar notes of agave, not necessarily the Blue Weber agave. This one has a beautiful, beautiful smokiness to it that just emanates from above the glass. Raven Dramatic popping in saying, hello there, Raven, welcome back, welcome back. Let's taste this. Oh, gosh, I need more mezcal cocktails in my life. Let's slow down a hot second. I'm gonna take a sip of water. Big sip of water. That's so good. Wow. I'm gonna take a sip of it too, with the tahini as well. The second verse is just as good as the first. I need more mezcal cocktails in my life. Thank you. Thank you, Mixology. Mixology 1 and Mixology 2. Both y'all. It is really refreshing to have drinks that have a prominent smoky characteristic that doesn't completely overwhelm your palate. This is such a pleasant take on a mezcal margarita, especially because of the inclusion of that watermelon juice. I don't know what it is about the vegetal sweetness of mezcal and watermelon together, but it's such a wonderful combo. Not to mention the salty rim of the tahini. Oh, excuse me. It's such a wonderful combination here. It is light with undeniable characteristics of the ingredients that went into it. I can taste the watermelon. It's refreshing. It's lightly fruited. It's not super duper sweet. I can taste some of the Cointreau, that slight, almost like woodsiness of, I think it's a cognac base, so I'm pretty sure it was aged in oak somewhere. I don't remember if this mezcal is specifically aged or not, but I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that it probably is. There's a subtle vegetableness there that is just so incredibly pleasant. It's a beautiful take on a margarita. So absolute kudos to the folks over at the Mixology Mixshow for coming up with this particular iteration. I see MT Echo TV saying, good looking drinks. Absolutely, absolutely. And I'll acknowledge that Little Saw earlier said, that doofus Ganondorf, pfft, what does he know about cocktails? I bet he's never tailed a cock in his life. And Little Saw also goes on to say, not really Zelda related, but given that the remake of Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door is coming out tomorrow, I wonder if there will be a drink named after the Glitz Pit. I am not playing the remake, not at least right now, but if there is interest, I'll put it to y'all this way. I've kind of gotten the idea of how to do this before, and I'll say it again. I like to think of it this way. There will be more drinks from the playthroughs that we play. So in case you've got a hankering for more Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door drinks, we can play it again. We'll just make more drinks from it. I don't have a Glitz Pit specific cocktail, but if you look up Showstopper, which was the, Powerlift. The Powerlift cocktail, which should be on the blog somewhere for the power that you get from the star that you get at the Glitz Pit, is a, Powerlift is an old, it's either an old-fashioned rift or a Manhattan rift. I want to say it has Applejack, Sweet Vermouth in it, and something else as well, so I'm pretty sure it's a Manhattan, it's in the Manhattan type family. But Raven also say, I enjoy watching people make drinks myself, but don't drink, but it's fun seeing people make them. Well, I appreciate your words there, Raven. I find that there is a certain vicariousness, especially in watching like how-to shows like this with it's like watching somebody, it's like watching the cooking channel. Like, you may not be able to taste the things with your mouth, but you can kind of see an appreciation, especially when people are just like totally passionate about their craft. It's great. Oh, thank you for popping the recipe in, Brad. I appreciate that. It was brandy-based. There we go. There we go. It's beautiful. And I think there's enough simple syrup in here that allows those flavors to come to the forefront. If you didn't add the simple syrup here, I don't think you would taste the watermelon as much as I do here. But your mileage is going to vary depending on like the sensitivity of your mouth, you know? In any case, that's really good. You know what I should probably do? I had an idea for a command. It's a search command, and if you search the command, it'll return whatever the appropriate queries are from the website, which is supposed to house all of the recipes, but I'm so freaking behind on that. I apologize, y'all. Anyway, let's put this in the back with some of our other drinks. Let's see. Lake Hylia, the island on top, in the middle of Lake Hylia, is actually sitting there very, very pleasantly here. Where's there space for you? Where can I put you? Let's move let's move the keyboard over, and we'll put a coaster over here for the Gerudo Valley Margarita, yo. There we go. Gerudo Valley Margarita. Astra saying, one of the main stat boosting items in Shadows Over Loathing is alcohol, so I hope that you can get some ideas from that. But if not, there are a lot of things that you can make base cocktails on from that game. Astra, are you the same folk over on the YouTube side? There was somebody in my... Oh, wait, yeah. We were just talking about that the other night. I was getting mixed up because I think you go by a different name on the YouTube, but I'm pretty sure you're the same person. I won't be the one to out you, though. It won't be me. Firewolfie. Oh, great. Glad we made that association. Would you rather me refer to you as Firewolfie or Astra? I can try to keep track of that if you so wish. Anyways, let's go to the next cocktail. Y'all might have heard earlier the Lost Woods theme playing, and if you follow it around the proper bend, you'll find your way not just to Saria, not just to the Forest Temple, you'll also find your way to a beautiful little cocktail. It's great. Very good stuff. So this one is another cocktail recipe by the folks over at the Mixology Mixshow. This one is also wonderful. It is something that I would describe as like deceptively complex despite its appearance. It, if you haven't noticed by the recipe already, uses a liqueur called Midori, a melon liqueur. It's that green bottle that you see absolutely everywhere. And in my opinion, as a mixologist, anything that this touches just kind of loses a bit of its original characteristic, and I think the folks over at the Mixology Mixshow did a wonderful job ratioing it for this particular cocktail to allow those flavors to really come up to light. So, without further ado, let's get into that. I see Little Sauce saying it makes sense. I have a friend who talks a lot about Thousand Year Door on the podcast we do. I'm pretty sure he inspired me to set my ringtone to the Glitz Pit. Is that the thing you're thinking of? Because it's iconic. Absolutely iconic. So what we're gonna do for this one also gets shaken and strained. We have a glass that we're going to fill with some ice, and we also need an assortment of greenery, so get yourselves ready for that, because that's what we're popping into next. Let me grab a shaking apparatus from down here. I've got another one over here. This is the tiny one, apparently. I grabbed the tiny one. That's probably not gonna bite us in the butt, right? Let's grab some ice, and ice one side of our glass, and then we'll start adding ingredients. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's enough for that one. That's probably fine. Depending on the size of the shaker, I'll add anywhere between like 4 to like 6 standard ice cubes. Just the stuff that I can get in the stuff in my fridge. Brad says, I spent a ton of time like 10 plus years ago, chasing down a tiny plastic sword in KOL, so I could get more turns every single day. KOL. I don't remember what KOL stands for. Brad, you're gonna have to remind me on that. And Astra says, I prefer Astrea. Is it Astrea? But both are fine. Oh, Kingdom of Loathing. Appreciate that there. I haven't played any of those games yet. Let's do, so for the Lost Woods, the first thing that you're going to do is in the, actually, we're not gonna use this silver one. We're gonna watch this happen. So, I'm gonna make sure that this pint glass actually fits into my shaker here, which it looks like it does, and it seals. So that's great. If I can get it off, which is perfect. We're gonna actually put this inside of this glass here so you can actually watch us make this here at the cocktail angle. Because the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna start muddling things in the bottom of this pint glass here. Come here, little buddy. It's pronounced Astrea. Let me know if I got that right. And I will try my best to associate on both sides. Alas, there are a lot of people. And I believe there's a scientific limit to how many people we can remember, and I think the number is 150, but I'm just rambling at this point. Let's get a kiwi. I've got a kiwi. Take your kiwi, and we're going to chop off the side of it. And then we're gonna peel it, just makes it easier for us. I could be using a cutting board. I just kinda don't want to right now. Let's take these pieces, eat them, because they're still good. Let's take a peeler. I'm just gonna kind of peel the edges of the kiwi. We don't really want the peel on this. All we want is the fruit. All we want is the flesh. That's all we want, is all we want. Try not to hold this thing too hard, or else you're going to, first of all, cut yourself. And then second of all, you're gonna juice the thing before it's even had a chance to make it into your cocktail. And that's not what we're about here. This is notably a hard angle to do this, and I probably should have used a sharper knife for it. You know what they say. Even nothing more dangerous than a sharp knife than a dull knife. But after we've strained all that off, let's take these scraps. I'm not gonna eat these ones. I'm still struggling with the one that I have. Excuse me. Whew. I'm struggling with that one. Couldn't commit to the bit. Let's cut that into a couple of convenient slices, just to make our muddling job easier. Now I'll bring this back. Hello? Pop that inside. And then, let's grab a muddler, which I need to clean off, actually. So excuse me for a moment. It's got gunks of Goron all over it. Goron rocks. Raven says, the fun part of making something you get to eat as you go. That's one of the best parts. And the other fun part is not following the instructions at all, messing up and doing it all over again. Let's muddle the kiwis in our glass. These ones are a little gushy. A little gushy, but gushy is exactly what we're going for here. It's green after all, isn't it? Astrea, the name, comes from a Greek goddess. She was the god of innocence, purity, justice, and precision. Precision? I can get behind that. I like that. The idea of things being precise. I just noticed we can't see into this glass because my Midori is conveniently blocking the light. So let's put the Midori back down here where it's supposed to go, and we'll come back to it later. Specifically, we're gonna go back to it. Not right now. In a little bit. I also need a little bit of water for my hands. They're getting notably sticky. Notably sticky indeed. Mixology popping in saying, what? What does that say? It says, I can't see that. It says, sup, that's what's up. Went up, that's what's up. I love that. That's awesome. That's a beautiful emote. I love that. The Little Sauce says, I can sure sense the crests of the Triforce at the bottom of the glass. Can you really? You're behind a camera, dude. You must be incredibly sensitive. That's impressive. Now, one of my favorite part about this particular drink is it uses a bottle in our collection, cachaça. I love cachaça. It is funky, it is banana forward, it is such a freaking unique taste to it. And we're gonna add a full 1.5 ounces of this thing. I love that. Let's add 1.5 ounces or about 44 milliliters of some cachaça. We're using LeBlanc. LeBlanc James, you say? No, LeBlanc Lady. I only say LeBlanc Lady because I'm not blonde and I'm not a lady. So it can't be anybody who lives here. Next, we're gonna add 1 ounce or about 30 milliliters of our Midori, the general green stuff. This is a melon liqueur. It kind of tastes like a Japanese melon. It also turns things green. 1 ounce or about 30 milliliters of melon liqueur. You see the woods now? Are you starting to get lost at all? Because if you are, no pressure. Just listen. Listen to the sound of Gerudo Valley in the distance, because that's the song that's playing right now. I don't do much DJ. If you came for quality DJing during a cocktail stream, you should actually be watching on the Mixology Mixshow side of things, because I don't do that here. I focus on the cocktails. Estrella says the name roughly translates to Star Maiden. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Raven Dramatic says my username is just a twist on my old Reddit account, LOL. But I should have had my username reflect my preferred name, which is instead of Raven Dramatic Raven. That's my guess. That's my guess at least. After you've added your melon liqueur, let's add both 1/4 ounce of lime juice and 1/4 ounce of elderflower liqueur. If you were taking recommendations seriously, you would be using Saint Germain or Saint Germain elderflower liqueur. I'm using Saint Elder because that's what I have access to. The Bar with an X has a budget, excuse me, because we haven't hit 1 million subscribers yet. One day though. 1/4 ounce, about 7 milliliters of elderflower liqueur. And then we're gonna add some more of that lime juice. If you've noticed, every single cocktail has lime in it. That's the link between drinks. Who was the one who made that joke before? That was such a good, I think it was Al. Was it Al? I think Al made that drink earlier. The link between drinks. Freaking love that. I love puns. I didn't do the slide whistle for that. We do slide whistle things for puns. So good. In mortem. In memory of Al. Oh my god. Alright, we're gonna add the juice of like half a lime. It's like 7 milliliters. That makes sense. Look at that bit up there. What's that bit do? What's that bit do? Brad says, biddies toward the lime fun. Because it's 11:11 somewhere. I dig that. I dig that. I think that's the last that we're gonna need of this juicer tonight. I see. An Artsy Human says, meanwhile, my username I've had since my sophomore year of high school, and it's just my name everywhere. I'm glad it doesn't involve a name change, though. It made the changing very easy. I used to go by a different name, actually. I used to go by CJ Awesomest on the internet, and then I figured Cameron with an X was cool because X's are cool. That's why I drew an X there. That's why I drew an X over there. That's where there's an X on my butt cheeks, which I'm not going to show you guys. 1/4 ounce, or about 7 milliliters of lime juice. That's what you need. That's what you require. And that's all we need in there. That's all we need in that glass. Great! Let's put the knife away. Let's put this peeler away. Don't need any of that. Estrella says, the Ocarina of Lime connects us all. And the Triforce does too, apparently. Let's take our liquids in this glass, combine them into the solids of the other glass, which hopefully has the liquid separated from it. It did get a little thing there. And let's pop back over here to do some shaking. We're gonna shake this, and then we are going to strain it over some ice in a glass. The glass is over there, and then we have a bunch of things to garnish the glass with, so stay tuned for that. Combine everything together, give that a spank if we want to, and go for it. Is such a gushy sound to it. Oh my god. It was wild. Raven said, nah, some type of username. There's a response to the name question from earlier. Some type of username involving Ace probably should have been named Ace Hardware. I chose my name from a childhood memory of going to the store with my dad. That's awesome, dude. The most fondest memory I have with my father, oddly enough, that exists in my memory, is I think we were in a moving truck somewhere. We weren't moving, but I just remember sitting in the side of the seat with him for like the entire drive, and I just really appreciated the company I had with my father at that moment. It was really, really cool. We're sharing memories around here. Anyways, let's grab a glass. Let's go back to the cocktail angle. Let's take a look at this beautiful glass that we see before us and add some ice to it. Don't block the light, dude. Let's add some ice to it. I'm gonna add some of my cubed ice. I'm not doing anything super duper fancy here. I don't want to get more lost than I already am. Because it's the Lost Woods, get it? Now we'll strain over top and garnish appropriately. Come on, separate. Separate. Don't break the glass. Oh, you were stuck on there. Oh, you were stuck on there. Oh, that glass is stuck on there. Hold up a second. I'll try to pop that the other way. Almost there. Almost there. Just hit it. Just hit it. There we go. There we go. Got it. I knew we'd get it eventually, y'all. I knew we would. Let's strain over top. It smells so good. It smells like cachaça. Freaking love cachaça. There's a lot of pith. There's a lot of gunk in here, so give it a little shake to make sure all those little bits come out. The cocktail angle makes things look very, very warm. Y'all seeing that? I gotta look into how this thing looks. Wow, that looks putrid on the cocktail angle. Wow. Somebody should buy me a better camera. I'm just using an old Android phone because I'm resourceful and not cheap, just resourceful. That's what I'm saying, resourceful. I see an Artsy, you've been saying extremely valid way to choose your name. Absolutely, indeed, because if you're referring to mine, it's because the letter X is really, really cool. Let's grab our garnishing equipment, which happens to be a bunch of things that are green. I was doing some cool camera magic earlier. Let me see whether or not I can make this a little more brightly colored. We might as well do impromptu modifications. I think that's pretty cool. Let's see. Can we change the color a little bit? Oh, hi there. Yes, I'm aware that my phone is hot. There? What's the... Oh, I gotta get into the... Oh, you know what? It's not worth it right now. I'll take care of it later, before the cocktail angle turns off because the phone's getting too damn warm. I don't like kiwi all that much. Too sour tasting. Kinda depends on what kiwi you get, Raven. It's oddly enough, I've had kiwis that are really, really sour, and kiwis that are really, really sweet, and I don't know whether it's the riper ones are sweet, or the non-ripe ones are sweet. I haven't quite cracked it yet. So essentially, for your Lost Woods cocktail, you're gonna take an assortment of green things, and just kind of garnish your glass with them. The idea is you're gonna try to get lost in the woods, dude. So just kind of like go crazy with this. The botanicals that I'm using are thyme, basil, and some dill as well. I liked the way that they all look, and in my opinion, none of these have any, like a very, very overpowering effect on the drink. Unfortunately, I can't get my things fresh. I'm trying to work on my hydroponics attempts, and they have failed delightfully so far, unfortunately. So I'm just kind of going absolutely crazy with this, in case it looks like somebody just like jizzed green all over something that was already jizz green. You are absolutely right. I'm also not a hairstylist too, so this is not very... I wouldn't tip... If this was your haircut, I wouldn't tip them. Personally. I wouldn't tip them. Don't do it. If this was your bartender, I would tip them. Because you should always tip your bartender, even if they're snarky assholes like I am. Anyways, if you notice too, or maybe you can't notice, hold on. Boop. There's also a noticeable lag on this now. I'm trying to leave some space for me to sip over here. Y'all, I'm getting tired of looking at that drink in that angle, so I'm just gonna change it. That looks... I don't like that. I like this angle instead. Get out of here, cocktail angle. Look, it's green! I like this green color better! Raven says, I was going to mention the less green looking side, but didn't want to point it out. Indeed. So one side, specifically for my drinking hole. So let's put the Lost Woods into my drinking hole. First, let's give it a smell. Smells like green. I'm picking up heavy notes of thyme And if I put my face over near the dill, kind of smells like dill. And if I stick my face in towards the center, it doesn't really smell like mint. It just smells more like thyme. Pretty cool. Like the Ocarina of Time. I'll take this. Let's drink it, shall we? I'd get lost in these woods any day. Wow, it's so lovely. Yet another one. The Mixology Mixshow, we did not talk at all about specific spirits before we had this stream collaboration. I'd say they're two of my favorite spirits because I haven't used them very much. They're relatively new in my repertoire, and I love their characteristics are Mezcal, Gerudo, Margarita, and Cachaça, Lost Woods. And they were present in both of these drinks. And I was astounded. And that was, I think, totally by coincidence. Y'all have done an amazing job with these drinks. Cachaça, to me, has these flavors of almost burnt, funky bananas. And this is combining with the flavor components of the melon liqueur, the Midori in this case, in a way that I've never had it taste before, like, in my life. Usually Midori makes things taste really, really sweet, like overwhelmingly so, and just turns things green. But I can actually taste the melon in this. I could taste the watermelon in the Gerudo Valley Margarita. I can taste the melon here in the Lost Woods. I'm going to go in for another one here, too, because there's other things to unpack from it. It's like... I can describe that as, like... a banana... like a really, really good banana-shifted limeade. It's wild. It's wild. It's very difficult for me to piece apart. It just tastes really, really good. It's got a nice sweetness to it. So let me break those flavor components down a little bit. It is not super sweet. It has a tartness that instead of being biting like a lemon, a lime, like general citrus sours, it's tart like a strawberry is tart. Not super astringent, not super biting, but more like a flavor sensation that kind of exists for me on like the back top part of my palate. It's a little sticky. I'm not gonna lie. The texture sticks around just a little bit, and I want to say that's the Midori working its beautiful, beautiful magic in there. But it just brings everything together. And undeniably, too, there is something that I would have described as... I'll describe it as herbaceous. And it's not necessarily from those herbs that are quite literally sitting on the inside of it. They really haven't been sitting there long enough to impart the powerful flavors that the mint would provide, the thyme would provide, the dill would provide. But it's, I think, from the interplay between the cachaça and maybe the elderflower liqueur, too. In certain walks of life, bartenders have called elderflower liqueur like the ketchup of the cocktail world. When you put it in anything, it tends to make it taste better. I've had experiences where it doesn't. In this case, if you've got something fruity, like cachaça, something with a fruit base, it's gonna do wonders. And it's done wonders here. I think allows me to get those herbal notes a little bit more. If you sip as you go into the drink too, it's just another experience completely. It's odd. It seems that depending on what angle you go in at this drink, you tend to get different experiences. It's almost as if there is a specific pathway into the drink that you're supposed to go to get to the bottom of it. And I think that's pretty on point for the reference. Beautiful. Absolutely great. Oh my gosh. It's wild. And Artsy Human says, oh, what, you actually want to drink the drink that you made? A shocker. Well, actually, this one was not made by me. This is by the folks over at the Mixology Mixshow. The two cocktails and mocktail earlier were from the depths of my brain here. But this one, the last one, and the special one at the end, a special shooter, were all from the minds over at the Mixology Mixshow, which, by the way, has been going strong now on their side of the stream for about the last 50 minutes or so. They're doing not just cocktail mixology, the cocktails that we're covering here, but they're also doing like DJ mixology with music and whatnot. So if you guys stick around till after the end, that's where we're gonna head after this, and probably that's where I'm gonna hang while I do all the dishes and whatnot, because there's a ton of dishes that happen after the stream does, because Look at all these shakers and stuff. Look at all these glasses. It just like makes sense, you know? Anyways. That's our last woods. That's our last woods. It's the Lost Woods, last woods, Lost Woods, last woods. What about a combination cocktail that combines the Lost Woods with the Lost Word to make the last woods? I would, dude, actually, I'm just gonna try it. I'm just gonna try it. Y'all, I'm just gonna put a little green chartreuse in this and see what happens. Because I think it's possible. Dude, it's possible. It's also green. Last woods. Improvisation. I did not plan this. Little bit, agitated a little bit. What am I doing? I'm a developed man. I'm an adult here. Let's use a stir. A little bit of green chartreuse in there. Let's see what happens. Do not tell anybody I did this. This will be our little secret. That's freaking delightful. Wow. You know those notes of herb that I was telling you that I was picking up on earlier? That's so good. Oh my god, it's so good. That's so good. It is now more herbaceous than it was previously. It's completely changed the flavor profile. I feel like I can barely taste the cachaça anymore. That green chartreuse is so overpowering, but it is like an herbaceous overpowering. Oh, it's so good. Wow, that's cool. Lost words. You're the last woods of the Lost Woods. Yeah. Yeah, I'll fess up to that. I also missed a bunch of messages. Excuse me, y'all. I see that Raven Dramatic says, my mom cuts my hair. She's not good at it. Luckily, I don't have to tip her for that anyways. One thing I do want to buy, just to have the cool textured ice, is this, like, metal sheet with little designs in it, so you can have the little designs in the ice for a variety of drinks. I've always wanted to get one of those, Raven, because I want one to put an X on things, because I'm just too impatient to just, like, etch it in myself. It's great. And Estrella says, you know, with all this alcohol, I would have had a little bit of trouble trusting you at the wheel of a car. I'm not driving tonight. I live here. I live at the bar with an X. I don't have to go anywhere. It's wonderful. Anyways, so that's all we. So in terms of cocktails, y'all, those are all the cocktails that I have prepped for y'all this evening. We had the Death Mountain non-alcoholic. We had Lake Hylia, we had the Lost Woods, and we had the Gerudo Valley Margarita, which is kind of sitting off to the side because we don't want to associate ourselves with Ganondorf. Excuse me. There's one more thing that I want to share with y'all, and it is a last-minute cocktail. Excuse me. I have acid reflux. It reacts to acidic things. I have to take a little bit of a water break. Oh, excuse me. Let's get on with the show. The other drink that we have prepared for you this evening was actually a surprise one that I heard from my buddies over at the Mixology Mixshow earlier today. They had said, "Oh, we're so excited to have this that we made another one just because we could spontaneously." So I have a layered drink that I'll show you all next called the what is this called? It's called the Sun Song Shooter, which is a reference to the Sun Song in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. You have to play the Sun Song in order for us to specifically go out there and get the fire arrows. And so I thought of the when they said that they had the Sun Song Shooter, I was like, wow, like shooting at the sun and getting the fire arrows. Spoiler alert. So great, so good with that. I love that. In any case, I see, oh no, not green. Also, shout out, give it to Brad. Let's follow Brad. SO Mixology Mixshow. Oh, check that out. The shout out command is broken. Interesting. Evidently, I broke the shout out command. I have to take a note of that. Brad, you were so kind as to use the SO. Could you suggest and remind me to fix the shout out command? Because it's apparently shouting out the person who used it instead of the other one. I'm so sorry about that. I see Al saying, you're the last woods of the lost words, the last woods of the lost woods. Last woods. Brad says, we do need a little brass press for the Brad at the bar. Tums. I do, yeah, I could probably use some Tums. In any case, suggest fix the sound. Thank you so much, Brett. I appreciate that. Anybody who's on the Twitch side, if you use !suggest, I get a message and a ping privately in our Discord server that reminds me of drink requests, game requests, feature requests, anything you think of, you can use that. And that's the best way to get me to remember things, because if you say anything in these live chats here, I'm too dense to remember, and I can't quickly write everything down. I'm just really, really bad at that. So the last thing that I'll show you all this evening is how to create this very, very quick shooter drink that you can build up quickly and take down even quicker. Although it actually takes a little bit of planning, so we'll get into that right about now. So this involves 3 main ingredients. You use peach whiskey if you have access to it. I actually do not stock peach whiskey here at the Bar with an X, not yet at least. So I'm gonna take some bourbon, and I'm gonna take some peach schnapps. I'm gonna split the difference between the two of them. We're also gonna add Aperol as the final layer in our shooter here, as well as add some pineapple juice and some lemon black tea in the middle of this as the middle layer. You mix and shake the second layer, and then you pour that over top of the first layer, and then pour the third layer over top of that. That's kind of how this works. I've not played around with this one before. I didn't try this one before the stream actually started, so this is kind of a surprise for all of us. Let's see how it goes. So, step 1 is going to be getting ourselves a shooter glass that is tall enough to take in all of this liquid. I've got a tall one here. It was a little best man shooter that I bought for my best men. One of them doesn't drink, so I kept his shot glass. So it all winds up working out in the world. If you are out there and you feel like you have to drink alcohol to fit in with people, find better people. You don't need them. You really don't. Let's take half an ounce of peach schnapps and half an ounce of bourbon, whiskey, rye, whatever you got your hands on. We're just gonna kind of mix them together into a single layer at the bottom of our glass here. I'm gonna try to measure this exactly to see what's going on. So we'll take a half an ounce, or about 15 milliliters of peach schnapps, bottom of our glass. Let's also take about a quarter of half an ounce, 15 milliliters of some bourbon. This is specifically in place of the 1 ounces of peach whiskey because I don't have any peach whiskey. So we're gonna make our own peach and whiskey. And just to make sure that that's all, that actually all fits together pretty well. Let's see how this looks on the cocktail angle. I'm not a big fan of the cocktail angle right now, if it's even still working. It is. That's the front of the bar. Come over here, little guy. There we go. How are things looking? I'm blocking the light with all the bottles over here. Excuse me a moment. A big old bottle of something. There's something in there. Next, we're gonna add together pineapple juice and some lemon black tea. We're gonna combine this in a shaker and we're gonna shake it together. And we're gonna do that rather quickly. So I'm gonna do this in one of my special shakers over here. Let's add some ice to our shaker. And we're gonna add just a little bit of these ingredients. Take our pineapple juice and give that a bit of a shake. We're gonna need a quarter of an ounce of this pineapple juice. Do about a quarter of an ounce. I'm gonna make double this just so I have enough liquid because I did put quite a bit of ice in here. So let's do a half an ounce pineapple juice along with, instead of half an ounce, so a full ounce of everything else, which is our lemon black tea, which is essentially just black tea and a lemon that's been cut up sitting in the same container, and it's been sitting since this morning. So, if that ain't lemon black tea, I don't really know what it has to be. A full ounce of that in our shaker, because I'm using double the proportion. I added a lot of ice in there. Otherwise, I think things are gonna taste weird. This is gonna taste really good in the morning, this lemon black tea, so I'm just gonna put it over here. And I'll just use it in the morning. Kinda looks like pee. Let's give that a quick shake. And then prepare our Aperol, which is gonna go over top. The top of the shaker doesn't like to come off, which is why I don't use it very much. I don't like it. I don't like it. Oh, there we go. And we're gonna need a total of 3/4 of an ounce of this mixture. Eyeball pour it. There we go. The idea is we're going to layer these over top of each other. So I'm gonna try my best to get a bar spoon that allows me to go to the bottom, just top of this liquid. And I'll pour down the side of it in hopes that it layers over top. And there we go. Well, I kind of lost it a little bit toward the end there. But it's doing a little bit. If you have a bar spoon that has this little flat bottom on it, you can use that as a means to layer things on top of each other. I didn't do a very good job of it. But that would work if you were a little better at your job, Cameron. Now, let's top the rest of it off with some Aperol. It does have a little bit of a gradient going on there. Let's see if I can do it better this time. Well, that didn't work very well. Well, it didn't layer the way that I anticipated to. But we've made worse mistakes in this world. So let's go for it. Oh, y'all can... I just realized I put my bottle right in front. Look at that. The big old bottle is blocking the way. Take the peach schnapps out of the way. Put the Aperol back where the Aperol came from. And now, this is the Sun's Song Shooter, inspired by The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, created by the folks over at the Mixology Mixshow. I want to give them all another shout out right now, if the Twitch will let me do that. Mixology Mixshow. Does it work? I have to wait 5 minutes to give them another one. Well, that's okay. It was because of their idea tonight that we started our playthrough of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and half of these cocktails wouldn't even have been possible without their collaboration. So thank you, folks, at the Mixology Mix Show. We'll be seeing you after the stream. That's where we'll go after this. If you're on the YouTube side, there's a pinned live chat at the top if you want to join them over on their side, which is where we'll be heading after the stream is over. For everybody, for the Kingdom of Hyrule, for the adventure that lies before us, and hopefully us actually defeating Ganondorf and bringing back peace to Hyrule, or something like that. Cheers, y'all! That's very pleasant. That's a very pleasant shot. A little bit more at the bottom. I can taste a little bit of that peach schnapps. I can get the slight bitterness from the black tea in there. And for the Aperol, the Aperol's a bit on the sweeter end in terms of the bitter orange that it brings there, but I like the way that those flavors all meld together, especially the fact that the pineapple juice, which I thought was going to be a lot more prominent, there's only a little bit in there. It is playing very, very nicely with everything else. Excellently mixed, y'all. That was really, really good. That was absolutely tasty. All right, great. For Asgard, says Estrella. For Asgard, choose whatever country you want to cheer for, and that's the country that you're cheering for. All right, so as we get to the end over here, that's all the cocktails that I've got for y'all this evening at the end of our cocktail showcase, with drinks inspired by The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, the locales of Hyrule specifically, in association and collaboration with the Mixology Mixshow. Gosh, that's so much of a mouthful, but it was a lot of fun. That last shot was also a bit of a mouthful. It literally full in my mouth. Anyway, awkwardly enough. So what I'll do now, we've already covered all the cocktails this evening, and I'll just give a little bit of a roundup reminding you of exactly what we went through and exactly where we're going to on our next adventure, it seems. Cool. So let me line these cocktails up here. If there's a mod available, if I can ask you to go back to the first recipe, you can either do recipe 1 or next, and it should wrap you back around to the beginning. I want to get these things all set up over here, hopefully looking quite nice. And then we'll talk about where we've been, talk about where we're going, and I don't know. Maybe do other cool things, you know? Like Hylia, pop over here, please. Pop over here, please. Thank you very much. We have our Death Mountain. Death Mountain number 1. We have Death Mountain number 2. Let's pop that over here. You can't really see that. Let's put you in the front, right over here. There we go. And let's get our Gerudo Marg. Because what better drink from a sandy locale than a margarita? Because, like, tequila, you know? Tequila. Alrighty then, let's go back to our first record. Dark Techie popping in. Eric, how are you doing, my friend? It's been so long. How are you? How are you? Y'all have made it to the end of the stream so far, where I'm going to give you an idea of where the hell we've been and where the hell we're going. So the first drink that we covered tonight was a drink inspired by Lake Hylia. As you can see, Lake Hylia is absolutely like thriving right now. It is not frozen at all. It's got a little island in the center of it, and it kind of tastes like tropical fruits. Very light tropical fruits now that all the ice has melted. I was inspired to do this drink because in the adult timeline, 7 years in the future in Ocarina of Time, the Zora's Domain freezes over. And in my head, it made sense for if Zora's Domain freezes, Lake Hylia freezes. I was wrong about that. I haven't actually gotten to that point in the game, so I guess I didn't spoil enough of the ending for myself. But this was a slushy cocktail. It was blended up into a slushy combined with some Hpnotiq, which is a tropical cognac-based liqueur, some simple syrup, elderflower liqueur, triple sec, lime juice, and of course some vodka to bring the proof up a little bit. It is a very, very light, refreshing, semi-sweet, tropical fruit-forward drink that you can either eat solid when it's in slushy form or wait till it completely goes down to its liquid form and comes up to the temperature. It has some lime juice in it, as noted by that little lime medallion on top that is supposed to represent the island in the middle of Lake Hylia. You can't really see it from the front angle here, but you just kind of have to believe me. It's there, I promise you. Eric's saying, hey, bit okay, LOL, how about you? Oh, I've been drinking, so everything is pretty good as far as a Wednesday night goes. I see Mixology Mixshow saying, that's what's up! That's what's up! It is what's up. Dude, we'll be joining you guys right after this show is over. We'll be done in about 10 to 15 minutes, maybe a little bit, depending on how long I talk. Estrella says, Lake Hylia just got drained. Not frozen. Not frozen. See? It's like, we're like halfway down the glass. If you keep drinking this, it'll get drained eventually. That's kind of how that works. The next cocktail that we had in our journey is Death Mountain. Death Mountain is a volcano, either active or not, depending on how the timeline works in the Legend of Zelda series, specifically in Hyrule. This drink combines together the flavors of chocolate with the flavors of strawberry because it's a really awesome combination. I freaking love that flavor combination. It is created first by mixing our liquid ingredients together. For the alcoholic version, it is some dark rum, strawberry syrup, creme de cacao, lime juice, and some chocolate bitters, which I forgot earlier on, but we added it back at the very end, and it was okay. You strain that over some cubed ice that has had these little candies put at the bottom of it. These little chocolate candies called kohakuto, which is a Japanese term for amber candy, and these tiny little jellies that are kind of hard on the outside, a little crunchy, and they've got a nice jello on the inside. You take these little cocoa boulders, because Gorons eat boulders and rocks, you put it at the bottom of the glass and you mush it up, you muddle it up, and so as the cocktail comes up to temperature, it starts to get liquefied, the kohakuto at the bottom absorbs a little bit of that flavor up above, leaving you some wonderful dessert, a beautiful treasure to be found at the bottom of the glass. Now that we've gotten all the way to the end, I'm gonna go in for the ones that have been soaking this entire time and see whether or not the treasure at the bottom of the glass is really worth the wait. I mean, I'd say it is. It tastes like chocolate, and it tastes like tart strawberry. And if that ain't good, if you're not a fan of that, that's fine. But I'm a fan of that. And I think it's absolutely delicious. Next one we have is the non-alcoholic version of our Death Mountain. There were some folks in chat, I think it was on Monday, who were specifically requesting non-alcoholic versions of drinks. I'm gonna be honest, I have not mixed a lot of non-alcoholic drinks. I find that they're too sweet. They're unbalanced. It's hard to make them in large quantities or to keep them for longer because the ingredients that go into them tend to be pretty perishable. But the best way to tackle anything in your life that you're uncomfortable with or you don't know much about is to just start going and doing it. So as soon as you guys suggested it on Monday, it is 2 days later, and I present to y'all the non-alcoholic version of the Death Mountain. I'm still getting used to this type of mixology, so this one was a little unbalanced, but we gave it our first shot. It tries to take those flavors of strawberry and flavors of cocoa, as well as those molasses notes from rum, and approximate it using some sorghum molasses, some lime juice, some strawberry syrup, cocoa powder, and a bit of seltzer water up on top of that. My suggestions with this particular one, oh, and we also have the Goron boulders at the very bottom, so that you still have something to look forward to, even if the drink was not necessarily that balanced. My criticisms on this going forward, if I had to do this one again, if I had to shop this one another time, I would cut the cocoa powder. It's just not working. It made the seltzer water fizz up a bit too much, which was cool because the volcano kind of looked like it was erupting a little bit, but it's a texture that I'm not particularly pleased with. I think the molasses could be dialed back a little bit. I'd probably try to do some sort of like chocolate infusion, either a chocolate syrup or make my own like non-alcoholic chocolate liquid to try to get those flavor of chocolate a little more pronounced there. If anybody has suggestions on how to accomplish that specific chocolate flavor without resorting to syrup, without resorting to like Hershey's, or without even resorting to melting chocolate, because eventually it's going to solidify. Feel free to DM me about these ideas. I love talking mixology. I love talking cocktails and techniques, and also video game stuff too. That's kind of how this whole thing emerged. So my DMs are open until somebody takes advantage of that. So I'll just state that there and not acknowledge it again at all this stream. The next cocktail that we had, we're now moving into the territory of drinks that were not invented by the folks here at the Bar with an X. These are things invented by the folks over at the Mixology Mixshow, the other half of this cocktail collaboration. The wonderful minds over there came up with this concoction, the Gerudo Valley Margarita, which is a mezcal-based margarita that uses the flavors of watermelon to tie things together in a way that I have personally never had the pleasure of experiencing before, and I love it. That combination of watermelon and salt from the tahini on the tahini on the rim, as well as the smoky characteristics of the mezcal, are just like, they smell really nice, they meld really well, and as this came up to temperature and the ice melted a bit, that dilution is very, very pleasant there. I can now pick up a bit more watermelon, a bit more vegetal notes, and a lot more on the mezcal that isn't the smoke that was really, really prominent when we mixed it about, it was like an hour ago now or so. These drinks tend to stick around for a little while. It's just it's what happens when you're doing a whole showcase of drinks here. And it was really, really good. I like mezcal. I don't really know how to use mezcal, but everything I've put it in, except for a couple experimentations here and there, has been pretty good. So apparently I haven't used it wrong just yet, or maybe it's just that versatile a spirit. I don't know. I'll wait till a more experienced me can come back and correct me sometime in the future. So, in any case, I see that next we had the Lost Woods specifically. This cocktail, also created by the folks over at the Mixology Mixshow, is absolutely delightful. It is absolutely delightful. This combines Midori and cachaça in a way that I just was not expecting. And although the greens look a little limp right now, the assortment of greens really does kind of, in my opinion, push forward the reference of getting lost in the woods. There is a right way to drink this cocktail, and I don't think it's putting your mouth over the dill and stuff. So if a metaphor were to be had here of traversing through the lost woods, through the lefts and rights of the mazes, and following the song of apparently Gerudo Valley again, which is playing right now, at least on my DJing here, it's a good metaphor. I like that. My greens are all very wilted because they've been in my fridge as I was mixing this up for the photo shoot the other night. I also have apparently a black thumb. I'm trying to grow things, and the orange plants have not died yet, and the basil is somehow still alive. The mint plant is dead. That's unfortunate. Maybe we'll get better at that. If you have access to fresh herbs, you should use fresh herbs. It's a different experience, and it won't be all wilted like this. But it's very tasty. The liquid ingredients here are wonderful. It includes cachaça, melon liqueur, elderflower liqueur, lime juice, and then some muddled kiwi in your shaker. Those combination of flavors is just very nice, especially the Midori and cachaça and the kiwi, which is a flavor combination I had never tasted before, and I thought it was awesome. Now, I thought that was all the recipes that we had in store for this evening, but this morning I got another message from the Mixology Mixshow about one more thing that they wanted to share with us, and that is the Sun Song Shooter, which I've already taken already. It is a reference to, I believe you have to go to Lake Hylia and play the Sun Song on the little island in the center, and then shoot an arrow at the sun, and I believe you get to fire arrows. If I spoiled it properly for myself, that's what you have to do. If I didn't, then nobody tell me. I want to specifically try to be wrong. I want to experience the wrongness myself so that I may learn for the future. But the Sun Song Shooter combines some peach whiskey, if you've got it, with some lemon black tea and pineapple juice, and you top it off with Aperol if you can get it to layer correctly. I, for one, I was not able to get it layered in a way that was very good, but it tasted absolutely delightful. It was balanced, especially with that pineapple juice. I am not the biggest fan of pineapple juice, and that black tea with the lemon in it was actually very good. My tea was steaming for about 7 or 8 hours in cold water with 2 black tea bags and an entire lemon cut in twine. It worked pretty well, and it went really well, especially in this shooter. That is, whew, that's a wrap, y'all. That's everything I've got for y'all this evening on this evening's cocktail showcase. Whew. Very, very good. I think we did good there, y'all. I am curious to anybody out there, if you've got a favorite from tonight's stream, let me know. If you tried any of this in the future, I'm very curious to see what your thoughts are on any of these drinks. I would love the feedback. I'm sure the folks over at the Mix Show would also be happy to see it. Man, that's high praise. It's good, dude. It seems, I took a look at, I did my research on these guys before I said yes to the collaboration, and they call themselves mixologists. And anybody who calls themselves a mixologist is pretentious and has no idea what they're talking about, or was working at it long enough not to put them down a level and say, my proper term is the mixologist. I think I'm the pretentious schmuck right now, but these guys apparently know what they're talking about. Estrella says, you don't have to play the sun song at Lake Hylia. All you have to do is shoot the sun. Huh, that's great. I'm so into the song shooter, says Brad. That's cool. I thought that was really good. I don't tend to do shooters on this show because a lot of them are really, really sweet. They're very ephemeral. They don't last for very long. And they're not something that, like, I don't know, it doesn't really prepare me for anything. It doesn't make me feel like I'm about to get hyped for something else to happen or get myself ready for more playthroughs. It just kind of like puts a weird taste in my mouth. But this one left a very pleasant taste in my mouth. I'm not a fan of really powerful aftertastes. This one did pretty good. So as far as shooters go, I like it. I thought it was great. And Artsy Human says, I'll have to try and see if I can adjust these for my allergies. They seem so tasty, but citrus is evil. No on the citrus? You could try... Actually, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Let me think about that for a little bit in terms of what you could do aside from citrus. You know what you could do? I'm curious, and Artsy Human, have you ever tried, is it the citric acid? Because there's a concept in mixology, in cocktail mixology, called acid adjusting, where you take citric acid, malic acid, other types of acids, and you add the sourness back. Oh, Brad, look at that! Such kindness over there, gifting a tier 1 sub to the Mixology Mix Show. They're in the right place. But if you've, I don't know what it is about the citrus that you have allergies to, but consider looking up techniques for acid adjustment, which we at the Bar with an X have not experienced yet, because I'm actually trying to save up to get some of that stuff. So wonderful, wonderful things. I see Mixology Mixshow saying, that's a lot coming from someone who also knows what they're doing. Ha! 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 I'll take that. Thank you very much, y'all. I'm sure the show is going very strong over there, and honestly, I'm so curious of what's going on, I don't want to wait any longer. So this is where I am signing off for the evening. This has been wonderful, y'all. This is really, really cool. This was the first cocktail collaboration that we've ever done here at the Bar with an X, and I was so excited when I got that DM from y'all saying, yo, I like your stuff, we should do something together. It basically gave me an excuse to play The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time for the first time. So thank you for that, as well as thank you for these new drinks that I'm absolutely going to write up about because they're really, really good. And Artsy Human says, I have no idea if it's the citric acid. The kind that's usually in other foods is fine for mold, but citrus is evil. So I'll have to look up acid adjustment because a lot of my favorite drinks pre-allergies have a lot of citrus. Yes, feel free to give that a try. I don't know. I won't say try it officially because I don't want any sort of flare-ups happen because of some advice that I gave. I've never tried it before either, but that might be something that I wonder if there are other people who are allergic to, like citrus juices like lemon, grapefruit, lime, and stuff, who would be able to experience the flavor of the citrus without the actual citrus juice itself. I'll offer one more thing. It's got citrus in it, so it's probably not in the right direction, but super juice is not quite lemon juice. It's pieces of lemon juice. I'll take it, you know? Brad says, there are such good vibes at the Mixology Mix, so I look forward to experiencing it all over there with you. For anybody here, in celebration of the collab, the Mixology Mix Show, which is over in Canada right now, 2 time zones away, we were able to make this thing work, is doing a show of their own where they're not only mixing up cocktails, but they're also mixing up music and beats. It's mixology in 2 different senses of the word, and that is excellent branding, my guys. Absolutely beautiful branding. So that's where we're going to head over after this. For the rest of y'all here, if you got all the way to the bitter end, thank you very much for joining along with us. If you tried any of these drinks, let me know. If you want any more drinks in the future, if you have suggestions, I take suggestions offline. I take them in comments. I take them in the live chats. I'm a little dense, so I might forget, but I love this kind of stuff. I'll see you all again on Monday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time to continue our playthrough of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. There will be at least one more cocktail showcase for this series, and we've got something special planned for the end of June. And that's all I'll say on the matter. Estrella says citrus, more like shitrus. No, silly. I told you before that it's the chocolate-covered strawberries that caused me to shit my pants when I was young. I haven't done it significantly since then. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it right there. So to everybody, if you've made it to the end here, Have a wonderful rest of your night if the moon is shining, if the sun's shining, if you shot the sun that is shining and took a shot in commemoration of it, may you wonderfully experience the power of the fire arrows, but also have a wonderful rest of your morning. To everybody out there, young or old, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, until next time, y'all, it's been a pleasure being your bartender. Bye.